Hey, hi everyone. Welcome to another episode of Synth Geekery. We are at 292. It is the 19th of April. Happy Easter for anyone who celebrates that. I do. So, yeah.
Cool.
Awesome. Right. I am going to quickly mention one thing. We are streaming back on TikTok again. Yay, for all the TikTokers. You guys should be happy. It was pretty popular on TikTok, actually, so I was a bit annoyed that we were taken offline, but I do apologise for those who have been wanting us back on there. The reason was because something to do with a technicality with Streamlab. So, yeah. Now, I don't know why the chat box is showing. We need to turn that off. Hide the chat box. There we go. That's good. Hide that. Yeah, that's good. Okay, cool. So if you are on Twitch, big hello to you. That's the links to all the different channels that we're on. So Synth Geekery. Sometimes I couldn't get Ranzee. It's just one of those things someone else had taken. I don't know why. Maybe they think they're smart. But anyway, it's a big world out there. There's billions of people, so maybe there is someone out there called Ranzee. If you are, hello. Right, there you go. We are going to head back, say hello to everybody. I haven't even checked the audio of these two bugger lugs up in the top right-hand corner and the middle one because they just only just rocked up at the last second. Hi, Daren and Andy and Ian and Chris.
Busy.
Yeah.
Hiya.
Now, one thing, Andy, we're just going to have to keep a watch of your volume, buddy, because you came through a little bit hot over the last couple of shows. So you don't need to adjust at your end. You're actually muted at the moment, though. So you may want to unmute yourself. But I just want to keep an eye on your audio tonight. Can you just give me a check for me, please, Andy? Earth to Andy. No, muted, mate.
Still muted.
Yeah. I'll let you sort that out.
I presume I'm okay.
Yeah, you're okay, Daren. You're working. Anyway,
okay, mate.
We have got a fantastic show, as we always do. We've been busy working and putting it together for you guys. So hope you can stick around and watch it. We'll probably stream for about 2.5 hours, I think. So if you've got 2.5 hours to kill, sit around, grab a coffee, grab a beer, whatever you want to grab something, and enjoy the show. Yeah, there you go. I've got a drink here too. What have we got this week?
Happy Easter.
Happy Easter, yeah. Easter.
Nice.
Let's do that again, Andy.
Breaking up a bit.
Working. Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's working now. Cool.
There's a glitch on the headset. So.
Right. Okay, so everything seems to be okay. Just let us know if the streaming's working. Yeah, the guys are in chat. That's fine. Cool. Awesome. We are going to go through our regular segments, and then after that, we are going to do the How's Your Week Been with these guys. It's a new change that we've done to the show, so seems to be well received according to everyone. So they like to sort of get through the meat and potatoes first, I guess. I'm not sure why.
We're the dessert.
We're the icing on the cake. What we are about is the icing on the cake. That's the way I want to see it. Anyway, so what we're going to do first is we have a guest quizmaster this week. So that's going to be interesting. Now, the guest quizmaster this week is Bert, or ASIO Head. So big shout out to him for sending in his synth quiz. So we'll do that in a sec, and we'll launch that for the show. That's going to be exciting. We've got a bunch of memes to get through. The poll is ready, so I don't have to worry about typing it while you guys are chatting. So that's awesome. Now, if you want to support the show, there's a gazillion different ways to do it. You don't have to do it financially, but obviously financially is good for us because it pays for things that we pay for to keep the show running, things like Zoom and Streamlabs and stuff like that. So they are actually ongoing expenses with us. So super chats are good, and text to speech. There's links automatically being posted into the YouTube chat for those. So, for example, you'll see Streamlabs, that's the one if you want to do text to speech on Streamlabs. Donations that go through Streamlabs only cost 3% from my point of view, so they're better because YouTube take 30%. But don't worry about it if it's easier. to YouTube, do the super chats. It's within your thing. But if you're in Zoom and there's other platforms, go for the Streamlabs one. If you want to join the show, please join us on Zoom. Zoom is ready. It's free. You don't need to ask permission. You can just join us. But please join us with nice stuff. Don't join us with nasty stuff. It is a nice show. Daren's gone all blurry.
Keep it all PG, please.
Yeah. And also, there's ways to contribute. You can click like on this video, like right now. You can click it if you want to. Or you can subscribe. You can become a channel member. You can become a Patreon. There's all sorts of things you can do. And also you can contribute by doing a Name That Synth video if you want to. And the information on how to do that is on the Ranzee.com website, which I'll quickly show you right now. We do actually need someone to do a Name That Synth. It's been a while. So Ranzee.com, head on over to Ranzee.com, minimize all the ads. Yeah, I've got to make some money somehow. Name That Synth, there we go. And then scroll down until it says contributor information. Team U ads going away, good. And then just follow the information there and you should be able to get yourself a video. You just have to upload it to YouTube as an unlisted video. Don't share it with anybody, and away you go. Streamlabs happening. Cool, right. What should we do first? I think we should do quiz. Let's go. Uh-oh, we've got a quiz master this week by Azio Head. He's better than everyone. Just remember that. He's amazing. Yeah. You're going to have to really, really watch out because he's in control of this. Now, I'm under strict instructions from Mr. Bird himself that I must only give you this clue now. And there it is. The clue is for voice, right? So jot that into your notebook or plug it away in your brain somewhere. Hopefully, by the time you get to clue 3, you might guess it. I don't know. It's a good one this week anyway, so enjoy that. And while you're thinking about what that could possibly be, I'm going to do Funny Side. Indeed, we're going to do Funny Side. Look at all those people down the bottom right-hand corner underneath Chris that you could join in via Zoom. The link is pinned in the chat of YouTube. It's just Ranzee Zoom, bit.ly/Ranzee Zoom. So easy one to remember. Right, Behringer clones the Timberwolf. Wagoo, it's happening. Breaking news. It's real. They're actually going to do it.
But if they did actually clone the Timberwolf, would they accidentally make it better?
Damn it.
It's a faithful recreation, apparently. Apparently, they're not going to change anything about it. It's going to have all the fantastic features that Akai produced, including the amazing lack of LFO. Anything like that would actually be amazing. So looking forward to that. Fantastic. What else have we got? We have got, honey, name a book that made you cry. Well, Yamaha's DX7 manual, babe. I thought of somebody. We're not going to say who. So what was that? There was a ding sound just then. I heard a ding sound.
Sorry, that was me.
Oh, it was you? Okay, cool. I thought it might have been this. There's so many windows open here. I thought it might have been one of those. All right, we'll keep going. This is the new German government. So enjoy that. Yes. Boom, 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 boom. Anyway, so if you're mixing in headphones, this is your guide. Firstly, it's easy according to this guy. You go into the car and nope. Then you do your hi-fi. Nope. I'll stick to being an accountant. It's probably a good idea. Accounting and music are not related, people. Just in case you're wondering. Yes. Spreadsheets, kind of like a sequencer, kind of. It's a long stretch, though.
Polyend tracker. That's all I've got to say.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. What else do we have this week? We have this. If you're a deluge owner, this is fantastic. I think this one even deserves.
Or polyend play almost, although it's got far too many bits of vegetable.
This one deserves to go a bit bigger. Look at that. There you go. So you can see all the little cubes happening. Don't really know what the mess is on the top left-hand corner. Anyway.
System crash.
Yeah. Yes, indeed. I think we have reached the end of the memes. So we are going to start the poll in chat. Hopefully that does work. There we go. It's worked. Poll started for the best meme. All you need to do is type in chat. This is YouTube chat or Twitch chat. I don't know if it works on the other platforms, but you can type in !vote space and the number that corresponds to your favorite meme. So 0 for Timberwolf, 1 for the German government, 2 for accounting, 3 for the deluge, 4 for the scary book. I don't know why it's in that random order, but it was. Okay, so that's the way we're gonna do it. I think it just showed it on the show in a different order. But yeah, here comes the votes. I'll keep an eye on the poll. Oh, yep, we're getting votes in. Ooh, geez, I tell you what, you're going to be surprised at which one is going to get the meme of the week. You're going to be surprised. You're probably thinking that it's going to be something, but it won't be that. It'll be something else, and that's the surprise. Right now, it's going gangbusters. Gangbusters, this particular one. Gangbusters. Geez, they were quite synthy this week, I thought. Very, very good indeed. Very good. Maybe the scary book one, not quite as synthy as some of the others, but well, Robbie didn't like it. I think he was insulted by it. That's why he voted for it. Just kidding, Robbie. Right, shall we wait a couple of more minutes and we'll let you know what the results of the poll is after we start hitting the news. Keep your votes coming in, guys. If you need to remind yourselves, just scroll up a little bit in chat, you'll find it. Right, starting with this, what have we got here, people? Wow, geez, there's a lot of stuff coming out. And I still can't believe there's people that are stopping things from coming out. So can you just imagine what it's going to be like in 3 weeks' time when Superbooth hits and we have got the rest of the stuff that was supposed to come out in its normal routine manner. These things that are coming out now, I reckon they're smart because they're getting their products out before everyone else. Personally, I wouldn't be waiting for the big Niagara Falls release date. I reckon it's silly. Right, what do we got here? Monumatic by Knobula. Knobula's a great little UK company. Stupid me, I didn't have my thing logged in. Why not? My notes. Here we go. So it's as with most of the Knobula stuff, it's a polyphonic module. I can tell you that without even looking because I've read it. But it's a 12 HP Eurorack module that combines an 8-voice polyphonic synth and also a monophonic. That's a new one. A monophonic synth. It features 6 oscillator modes, an option-packed multi-mode filter, a high-quality stereo reverb, all within that nice little compact 12 HP. The module also supports MIDI and CV gates, so you get some flexible performance setups there. I do have a video lined up ready for you guys. If you haven't seen it yet, hope you enjoy it. Here it is. Oh, hail.
Hello, Jason from Knobula here. I am delighted to introduce our new module, Monumatic. It is a CV gate controlled monophonic synthesizer voice. It is, of course, also a fully polyphonic 8-voice MIDI synthesizer as well. Let's check out some of its features.
Ian's favorite controller.
We're going to pause it there because I don't want to ruin the video for you guys. You get to watch the last 4 minutes of it. And you can do that in your own time. Hey, Monumatic from Knobula. Good on you, Jason. I liked his video because he went for a little walk, and I like to go for little walks in my video. Yeah. So hats off to that. What did you guys see? I saw some Roland Super Saw, sort of Polymove, Vox Humana, Casio-style phase distortion. I saw a Salinas with a phaser in there. That was nice. And there was percussive drawbar organs, noisy cassette strings, pulse width mod, asymmetric sync saw, square wave with a sync. And what about that filter? The filter with a couple of different options on there. Especially, I don't know who noticed, but they've got a Butterworth in there. Does anyone remember where the Butterworth filter was in? I do. It was the Commodore Amiga.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Yes. Not just the Commodore Amiga, by the way. It's a good English design filter, actually. So do check out, I guess, the Monumatic. If you're wondering how much it is going to be 345 British Malulabars, or about 430 US schmackaroonies for you, Andy, over in your part of the woods. We just times it by 2, Chris, for us, with the British pounds. So
$750.
About 700, about $700 for us. Yeah. There you go. Anyone want to comment on that?
It's got a lot for the money, I think. Being the non-modular guy, there's a lot going on there.
Yep, big DSP chip in there.
Yeah. It's
another one of those modules that is just can be standalone box virtually, and that's what I'm into at the moment, rather than a big modular system.
Yeah.
You could, yeah. You could, because it's got the filter. It's got, yeah. You could.
Yeah, that and the intelligent. I can't say it. Intelligent gel thing from last week. The granular.
Yeah.
That now that's interesting.
Yeah, the
you see, Ian.
Not that I'm not gonna buy it, but that would be.
You
really
wait till it arrives here, buddy.
Yeah.
Hey. Excellent.
I like these modules. The synth, like, anything that's, like I say, I've sort of leaned away from the full modular kit, because small things like this is just packed in a small little box case sort of type of thing. So I quite like these. So yeah, I think it's quite good. I like it.
Very good indeed. Chris, you were saying?
I think we always need more polyphonic in our modulars. I think that's the next frontier. The other point I want to make is it seems to me like VST effects development is migrating into these modular DSP-driven machines, which is quite exciting to see. So it seems that we're getting that now, that good competition and cross-pollination. No longer are these DSP modules, kind of almost getting there, but not quite. Now they're kind of coming out polished, just like a VST would be polished, with all of that, historical know-how starting to show up now. And, there are no slack-off filters or slack-off boring oscillators. Everything sounds kind of rather tasty, which is, wasn't for once upon a time, it wasn't really a given when it came to DSP modules in Modular. It was very much about pushing really old 80s technology, or just kind of like, oh, that's a fun kind of home project. Let me know when you finish it. Whereas now we're really pushing the envelopes, competing with analog-based modules. So yeah, it's kind of an exciting development, seeing more of this kind of stuff come out now. But in the end, it's just about how it sounds.
Indeed.
So, and of course, if Knobula want to send me one for review, I'm happy to review it for them. I haven't got anything else, but I'd love to have a go.
They can send me one. I'm going to try it live.
Damn.
Well, I mean, if you guys who are watching the show, if you ever want to thank any of these guys like Daren and Andy and Ian and Chris, because they give their time freely, every week. They don't get paid or anything like that. So, you could always send them a module. They would love it.
And if they send it before Off the Tracks, I might be able to get it into a full live set for Off the Tracks in August.
Beautiful. Okay. We finished with this. Shall we move on to the next?
Yeah.
Good. Everyone's in chat seems to be agreeing. Sean thinks it excites him, so that's good. Good on you, Sean. What about this? Hopefully it excites you as well. This is the Analog Kicks by L Fusion Modular. Now, what this is both an 808 and a 909 kick, but with a whole bunch of controls, thankfully, not just a sample. This is actually an analog module, and it gives you the ability to customize those kick sounds for those two particular things. You can see there's a little button down the bottom underneath everything where you can actually select which kick you want. And 100% analog signal, dual stage transient shaping with attack and body. You've got separate decay and pitch controls for each stage. You've got voltage control over pitch, decay, and mix. There's an integrated distortion and drive circuit, and there's obviously manual triggering as well if you want. Little 12 HP skiff-friendly depth module, and we're only talking about 249 euros for this. I do have a video. It's not visual, but it's audio. There is visual. I can show you it if you want, but let's just have a listen anyway. Let's go to the video. Here we go.
My new kick drum module. It's fully analog, contains both 808 and 909 kicks based on their original circuits. We have to send gate signal to one of these drums to generate kick sound. There are also accent inputs. These can be controlled with gate or CV to control kick gain. Accent strength is configured using trim potentiometers at the back. Let's start with 808. 808 is resonant kick. It has decay potentiometer that controls kick length. Tune, which controls the pitch. Tone is basically a low-pass filter, is there to control attack length. In 808 you have to be a little careful with decay parameter. For the resonator to work properly, kick has to decay almost fully before the next kick is triggered. If we pass a second gate or CV signal to accent input, we can get weaker or stronger kicks.
Interesting. We got that.
Let's proceed with 909. 909 is based on triangle core oscillator. It's more tight with more control. Firstly, we have attack and decay potentiometers. Decay controls kick length. Attack controls the initial impulse. Tune controls the pitch. Tune decay provides extra punch. Distortion, very useful when making harder industrial electronic music. And noise. Noise kicks in at the very beginning. It's there so the kick would sound more like a real drum.
All right, that's enough for the vid. Yes. One quick thing for me about this before I hand over to you guys. I'll go to a closer view so you guys can see what I'm talking about. It's kind of hemispherical in its design. I feel that he's got the 808 controls on the left, and he's got the 909 controls on the right. And if you were like a kid, like a 5-year-old kid, you'd be like, "Oh, he's got a bigger decay knob than I do." So. The only thing with the design is I feel like maybe a little bit more engineering thought could have gone into it, where you could have had a shared decay knob. If you couldn't do that, that would have to be some sort of digital logic behind it. If you couldn't do that, then obviously you're going to have a wider module if you're going to have larger knobs. But I'm not a massive fan over the small knobs for controlling things like decay on drums. You really do need to have
really crucial timing.
Yep. So to me that was the only neg on that. But other than that, good job. Sounds beautiful. Absolutely. Over to you guys.
Sounds nice. Yeah. I'll go first. Always like kick drums, but not super huge fan of the 808 for some reason. Tend to think of the 808 as something you put underneath something else, like a sample. That's my problem though. So kind of half of the module doesn't interest me as much as and then the 909 sound, I was like, oh, it doesn't really go far enough away from the classic 909. Like for example, the distortion was, I thought it was a bit tame. I mean, I think a lot of the styles I've heard that really use distortion on their 909 kicks go a lot harder. It's kind of in between. It's a little bit,
Indeed.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's sort of not neither or.
It's missing some oomph, isn't it?
It does seem to be, but it does seem like quite a nice sort of high fidelity, faithful recreation. They do sound very authentic, and nothing bad to say about the circuitry there. I do have to admit, the small knobs on the right hand side and the big knobs on the left, to me I look at that, and as a person in this kind of the DIY area of module development, I do look at that and think that, I want to make an 808 kick module, and say, I'm just looking at the 909 kick module circuit schematics. I wonder if I could just kind of add that into the side. I could probably tack that on the side. It's got very much a afterthought feel about the right hand side. It's like, I might as well add the 909 kick as well, and then didn't kind of go back to the drawing board, which is not always possible unless you're super in the business of going, I think it really needs to be redesigned from the ground up now that I've decided that it's actually going to be a dual kick module instead of a single kick module. So it kind of seems to have shades of that.
It tends to favour the 808 in its design as a UI. Not in sound, but just as a UI.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which, there's still controls there.
Suggests. Yes.
But they're sort of an after, like you said, it's like, maybe it wasn't an afterthought, maybe it was a design thing where he just ran out of HP.
As I said, once again, I'm speculating. That's what I'm here for, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's Mr. Speculation, yes.
Regarding the sound choices, I'd have to quote Mr. Wiggly. This isn't a kick drum.
Yeah, I was thinking that. I was definitely thinking
drum. This is
synth drum.
But I appreciate the fact that he tried to make it a small module instead of this massive thing that takes over your thing. And because 909 has more controls, you're going to have to give it more knobs. So it's kind of a weird toss up. I mean, you could put those little slip over things from Thonk to make the little guys a little bit bigger. You know, those aftermarket slip on knobs, the go over knobs. That makes it a little bit
tall
easier
toppers.
to use.
Yeah. Well, I mean, put the thought of the 909 in the back of your memory, because we might be revisiting that very shortly in the show, because it's kind of weird, but
I know nothing.
None of this stuff is purposely done as a segue, but it just happens that this week seems to be almost like 909 week.
The universe.
It's
sometimes
kind of
the universe seems
bizarre.
To be,
Let's have a look at this. This is an FM drum. We'll get to why afterwards, Chris. Okay, so if you could, I know you've seen this because I mentioned it to you during the week. We'll get to why this exists because I'm going to introduce that part of it after this. So what this is Erica Synths and a couple of other guys collaboration for the Labor system. We'll show you that in a sec, the Labor system, so don't worry about that too much. This is actually a standalone module that you can buy as a DIY kit, so you don't need the Labor system or anything like that, but it is related to it, and as I said before, we'll show you why in a sec. But let's talk about this for a start. So what this is a FM kick drum from
Tom.
Yeah, it's based on a TR909 kick or tom circuit, and what you can actually do is you can go in and make this yourself and actually discover a little bit more about it. What I'll do though first, before we start talking about any more of it, is we'll show you the video and you guys can see what it does.
These are the schematics for Roland's TR909.
Is that the one I wanted? Oops, maybe not. Hang on a sec. That is not the video I wanted.
These are not the droids you're looking for.
Not the video I wanted.
Yeah.
Okay, let's try this one. That's the next video we wanted. Here we go. He's sampling it. I won't go through that. So to sort of give you guys a bit of an insight into what this is, as I mentioned before, this guy has gone and looked at the schematics of a TR909, and specifically he's looking at the oscillator, which is a triangle oscillator, and then manipulating that triangle oscillator with a whole bunch of different elements, which we can go into in a sec. And as a result, you're getting this FM drum thing. So it's actually an analog oscillator as such. And there's some really, really interesting kind of things in here. For example, there's a noise element. There's for the attack transient, there's obviously FM modulation to give that sort of metallic sound, which is kind of like a pseudo cross modulation. We can actually go really, really deep into how he's done this. The guy that's actually done it, by the way, his name is Moritz Klein, and he actually collaborates with Erica Synths for the Labor project. So you can actually, believe it or not, you don't actually need to buy even this. You can actually, if you've already got Labor as that sort of system set up, which, by the way, looks like that's the Labor thing there. If you've already got that, you can actually make this as a project in Labor and muck around with it that way, as if you're into that sort of stuff. Or you can buy this as a DIY kit and have it as a Eurorack module. And you're probably thinking to yourself, that's really cool. I'm into electronics. So, you know, how cool is it that we can sort of start to pull apart and idealize the whole electronic side of how the TR-909 came about? For me, there was a really big element of the TR-909 because I actually lived through it, in the sense that when Roland brought the TR-808 out, then at the time there were all these digital drum machines coming out with samples on them. They were pretty groundbreaking in the day, and we loved them. But looking back, you think the sounds were actually kind of really lo-fi. And what Roland wanted to do is they wanted to mimic the sounds that these digital drum machines were able to make using synthesis. And then they know how to do this with analog circuits. So the TR-909 was an attempt at making that. And if you actually look at the schematics of a TR-909, it is insanely more complex than a TR-808. And for a damn good reason. So, and it's actually really, really kind of nerdy to go into how they make it and everything. So having said that, if you guys are interested in finding a little bit about that, do go and watch this video by Moritz Klein, which is literally this about how he started making his DIY FM drum circuit as investigating this, the TR-909 schematic. And the whole video goes into the types of oscillators he used, wave shaping, how he designed that, how he looked at saturation, how he looked at decay envelopes. Then, and you can see here he's done the whole thing in a Labor system, so you guys could do the same thing. And by the way, this is also he's done this as an article that you guys can read. So he does the pitch envelope, he does the attack transients with the click sound, the noise sound, then there's the FM circuit, which is a carrier, and then he uses this really cool idea, which I loved, where he uses an XOR gate, which is kind of like a rudimentary ring modulator. Because it does have a carrier, and that's how you kind of get those metallic sounds in it. And then he's got the high pass filter, the KCVs and things like that. And he's able, with this setup too, he's able to reuse some of the electronics to do other things as he was building it. And he was discovering, hey, I don't need to go and make another circuit for this particular duty. I can just, I can use the oscillator, and then I can divide that out and use the triangle wave and convert it into a slewed waveform to then create my envelope, for example. So there's all these kind of cool things that he was doing with it, and I found it really, really, really interesting. So probably because I'm a nerd and I like electronics, but I'm sure you guys who are sort of even if you don't touch a soldering iron, I actually feel like you guys will be fully interested in the whole Moritz Klein video. Yeah. And also the fact that this has come out as a result of it, which is, I think, amazing. By the way, this is only €75 to buy as a kit.
Yeah.
It's insane, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, I mean, basically you're getting a TR-909 drum voice with some extra modern takes in the analog circuitry that he's done, which I think is very sensible too. It's kind of like he's looked at Roland's designs and gone, yeah, cool, you guys did that. I don't need to, because I can do this better or easier or more efficiently if I do it this way. And the results that came out is kind of like something new. So it's kind of like TR-909 made this by someone just studying a circuit diagram, which I love. Thoughts, guys?
I like this. Especially nerdy for me, and it's a bit like revisiting my past, because I did spend quite a bit of time poring over the 909 and 808 circuit diagrams many years ago, when I was firstly trying to work out how to do my own rim shot, 808 rim shot, and then again when I was trying to work out how to do the 909 toms, this time in software, in DSP. Although it's not really DSP when you're writing pure data type stuff. But I have great respect for the tricks used by Roland. I have to admit, Moritz really is a great educator and explainer. So I could just sit and watch him, and everything becomes so much clearer when he talks about it. So I find it I really admire that aspect, and yeah, it's really fun just learning about the tricks that the Roland engineers used to do as well, because they are very much like tiny little narrow windows of voltage where this will work. And it was all very like precariously propped up. And he actually plays in those little areas and pushes them a little beyond and below just to see what can happen. That's where he started getting this FM drum idea from, just pushing it around and seeing what he could do. So it is definitely classic creativity when you just create something new out of something, an exploration of something old, kind of resurrecting. You can imagine if history had been different, maybe these kind of sounds would have come out of a Roland drum machine. But history worked a different way, company went a different way. Because really, the funny thing about the 909, of course, is that it really shouldn't have existed, because it was an analog response to a digital world, and those kind of projects often don't see the light of day. So it's kind of a quirk of musical synth history that we kind of got 909, and I think we're more richer for it. So hats off.
Well, technically 808 shouldn't exist either, since it was based on broken transistors, but
yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, I think after the 909, Roland went, nah, never again, guys. That was just too much.
Yeah.
And I think it's just easier if we just sample and create PCMs.
You definitely get this sense of it. Just ask any engineers try to repair one. It's a nightmare.
Yeah.
Especially.
Kent Spong.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
probably has.
This is absolutely what I love about YouTube and the internet, is that these videos are out there. I mean, I'm not massively interested in actually doing this sort of thing, but I watch this just because it's, you learn so much. I mean, I watched one this week on Tannoy speaker systems, which was only 20 minutes, and it was absolutely fascinating. So there's loads of stuff out there out of this.
Yeah. For me, what I liked about it is actually how simple it was to create a triangle VCO. I actually learned something because in the past I was thinking of other ways. I mean, there's so many different ways you can create an oscillator, right? But this particular way, which is technically Roland's design, it was just so simple. It's so simple, and it makes a lot of sense. Because you think about a triangle waveform, right? So it ramps up over time, and then it ramps down over time. So you've got you need some sort of way for voltage to increase and decrease, and then recycle. So you'd have to have some sort of gate high, gate low sort of system in it. And if you watch that video, he actually explains how it works, and in a way I think most of us should understand. And it might not be the thing that you guys are after. You guys just want to make music and things like that, but I feel like if you're if you're understanding a little bit about, it's a bit like a car, right? If you understand a little bit about how a car works, how an engine works, what goes into a, it kind of helps you master that particular type of realm, doesn't it? If you understand, I'm not saying go and get an engineering
take
degree.
care of it.
Yeah. It helps you sort of master the domain a bit if you understand how things are working. And also it helps you understand what possibilities that particular thing has got within its own right. If you understand that the kick of the TR-909 is potentially 4 elements, 4 different sort of circuits to make it work.
It's classic.
You can then understand, okay, well, that if I can manipulate each of those 4 different elements, then that's why I'm getting such a bizarre different sound out of the kick than what it was originally set as a preset. So there's things like that you get out of it, I feel. Yeah.
I like how you built this in the Labor system. That's clever that you could do all that with that system. So
yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, the video is really, really good. Like, to be honest, probably my favorite video this year on YouTube. He's done an absolutely amazing job on that video. He doesn't dwell on things. And the graphics that he's gone into with the visualizations, the editing of it, the way it's just, even the audio parts and everything, it's done really, really well. So I don't know if he's got help with that or if he's done that on his own, but I think he's done an amazing job. So yeah.
Yes, I'd like his graphics department, please.
Yeah, I love it. It's all that little
I love
handwritten
all
stuff,
the
right? Yeah,
yeah. I've been wanting to do that for years. It's just so laborious to do.
But it's animated.
Yeah, I know. That's my point. Yeah, it's that's what I want to do, but it's very labor intensive. At least the way I'm doing it.
It doesn't just use an AI plugin where it's like a hand going across the screen.
Yeah, exactly. I haven't. Whenever something's complicated and I see other people do it easily, I know that means it's because I refuse to use AI.
I mean,
that's probably the reason.
I'm probably like, I'm not sure what he uses, but someone may know. There might be software that does that. But this is an example, so I won't play the video because I don't want to get a strike. But you can see there's little coloured animations with.
It's reminiscent of Spice, but it's not actually Spice, I think.
So you can see,
it could be Spice.
It's quite clever. But yeah.
It's when it's drawing, yeah.
It's like the marching ants mode in Photoshop.
Yeah. That is it for news this week. I think we saved. I feel like we saved one of the best for last, and I thought the first thing was amazing as well from Knobula. Some really amazing DSP programming in Knobula. So for me, the two that really pricked my ears was definitely the FM drum and Knobula's Monumatic. What about you guys?
Oh, yeah.
Knobula for me.
Yeah,
because he's going to send me one, isn't he?
Bookends.
Yeah. Well, he's got 2 out then, hasn't he?
Well,
Ian?
Yeah.
Should we let you guys know who won the meme of the week? I should probably tell the poll to stop. All right, let's click stop. Yes, notify everybody. Oh, actually, that's surprising. That is surprising. There you go. Deluge won it with 6 votes.
Oh.
That is surprising because when I was looking at it before, it wasn't Deluge that was in front. It was the German government.
Yeah.
Everyone was voting for the Kraftwerk one.
Yeah.
But no, that's good.
That was a debate, wasn't it? No, that wasn't a picture of the debate. They had their debate. No, it was that Canada. Canada had a debate.
Did they? Oh, yeah. I know what you mean now.
Because they're going to elections as well.
Yeah.
The only debate in English, all the rest of them are presumably in French.
Yeah. You know what we should do before we go on to the next segment? We should probably tell you what the second clue is for the synth quiz hosted by synth master ASIO Head, who's in chat. So be nice to him because he, this is the second. By the way, it's tequila. I don't know why it's cutting off the bottom of the letters. It is tequila, as in the drink. It's not T-R-U-R-L-A. It's tequila.
Tijuana.
Yeah, Tijuana. Yeah.
See.
Yeah. Hasta la vista. Right. yeah, so we are going to pop that one out. I'll pop the third one out in the fullness of time, if you're wondering when we'll pop the other one out. But why don't we go across and have a look at some interesting products that are for sale on the used market in Price Watch. No scams this week, guys. I do apologise. Haven't been able to find any for a while. People have been behaving.
Well,
we had one last week. They are behaving though, and so they should be. People should behave. I couldn't believe when I found this a few months ago when I showed it on the show, because I'd never heard of the Wilgamat drum machine. I actually never knew Elka had made one, and now this is the second one for sale. And this one is actually not bad. The price is only €850, which is actually pretty reasonable, and it looks like it's in very good condition. Actually, it's on eBay, I believe. Yeah, it's eBay. What button do I need to press to show you guys? It is currently live on eBay. We do have some photos that I can share with you. I'm wondering if this was the same one. I don't know. You guys might want to go back and check. Maybe it is. But yeah, this, helps with all the Elka organs. So you've got a percussive section. And look at the woodwork. Hey? Jeez.
You can't beat a bit of wood.
Doesn't that give you wood?
No comments.
Really.
Can I use that sample, Ian?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Right. So there is the Wilgamat. Does anyone know why did they choose that name? Has that got some sort of... Is that related to drums? Is there a famous Wilgamat man who was the best drummer in Italy, or that worked for Elka? Or, does anyone know? I'm very interested in that name.
Italian speaker.
Yeah.
Robbie? No, technically.
Yeah, Robbie's got an Italian surname.
I know.
Yeah, well, and
right. What else we got? We have got this. This is not the Korg Mini Pops. This is the KO Mini Pops. This is the very, very first model. The original. The ultra rare one.
Wow.
$1,000 Aussie is pretty good. It's £500. That's actually not too bad, considering whereabouts is this? This is in Germany. And this one's on Reverb. So you guys can check that out on Reverb. All the links to all of these auctions and things that you've seen today are in the blog article, which is coming live around about 6 p.m. UTC time. About 7? Can't remember if it goes forward or back. Is 6 p.m. UTC 7 p.m. UK, or is it 5 p.m. UK? I forget. Anyway, I was hoping Ian would say something, but he didn't.
No, I'm not sure. Yes, but
what time does the show start for you? It's 2, right?
2 o'clock.
Okay, so it's 7
p.m.
p.m. UK when the blog article goes live, which is only an hour before the senior synth stream starts. I believe he's doing a senior synth stream.
Yes.
Senior synth stream. Say that 10 times.
I'll put the link in later.
Yeah. Yeah. I was going to be on, but I can't make it, I'm afraid.
I'll be snoring at that particular time.
Yeah, me too.
But yeah, that's a really interesting design. Like, it's kind of triangular, and
I have never seen this before. It's brilliant.
Yeah. I'm wondering if you could depress the 2 or 3 presets at the same time.
All buttons mode.
Yeah.
Like that compressor.
I like the piano-shaped case. That's funny.
Yeah.
I wonder how long that's going to last on Reverb. I don't think it's going to last long. Someone will snap that up.
Yeah, someone will snap that up.
Speaking of snapping things up, you may want to get yourself a 2600 or a 2601 if you really want to be typoing, and I don't know, someone will tell me if it's correct or incorrect. But it does have the 3620 keyboard, and it is on Reverb. So we can check it out. Some nice photographs actually on this one. They've done a good job. So that is really nice looking. It's got the orange decal. What is this? The version 2, I think they call it.
Version 3, I think. Isn't it? Is it 2? I think it was
thought
the
it said
Odyssey.
2.
The Odyssey that was version 3.
This is version 2 according to the listing.
2.0.
Because the Odyssey had the 3 color choices.
Here you go, Model 3 620.
Serial number 0707. For those who like the number 7. James Bond 0707.
007.
This has got the MIDI retrofit kit on it, which is what he's showing there at the top, which is why you're getting the dyno labels. Done with a lot of precision.
Edit. MIDI. VCF.
It is a model number 2601. There you go.
That's interesting.
Someone in chat was already saying it was correct, weren't they? No one did. Okay, cool. There was a lot that went into this, wasn't there?
Oh yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's a paraphonic synth. So, but geez, it was so well regarded around the world.
Well, great for sound effects too. Just so immediate.
Yeah. I mean, when you think about it, it's a 2500 went down into that. So if you're thinking about the day and age of engineering, I mean, it's obviously it's nothing like what the capabilities of a 2500 could do, because you couldn't do everything in a 2500 in this, right? No. So it's not really the same thing. But when you think about it, they've shrunk the 2500 into this, got most of the features in that, and then the next iteration was the Odyssey, right? And so they got that shrunk down even more. Oh, I love the ARP stuff. It's fantastic. It's really, really well designed stuff. But this next one is even cooler because this is the Boss DR110. This is an analog little portable drum machine, but not only that, but this has actually got the trigger input mod done on it, which is kind of like the TR606, right?
Right.
And this one is on eBay, and it's only €295. Actually, not bad.
I had that without the mod. It's a cool little box.
Yeah. I actually think the fact that it has got the mod makes this even cooler, because that means you now have access to all the different sounds externally. So that means you can record them and the like.
So the individual outs, not triggers.
Yeah. Yep. I believe. Yeah.
They had a similar mod for the Monotron that came out years later. So
I didn't have this one. I think I had the next model that came out after this one. It was black, and at the time I was only 19 or something when I had it, and I had a phone bill. I think I've told you guys this years ago. I had a phone bill that I couldn't afford to pay, so I had to go and take my little Boss Dr. Rhythm to the hock shop and get some cash so I could pay my phone bill. I was very sad. Musicians are always
cash
strapped, aren't they? When you think about it.
We'd like to keep everything, but we can't.
Yeah, I'm just checking. I had the DR220, which was the next one up from this.
Is that the black one?
The long black one, long one.
Yeah, that's the one I had.
Electronic version. Yeah.
Yeah.
They did an E version and a sort of regular from Sony.
And it's analog still.
The regular one.
Oh yeah, I have those as well. I forgot about that. Yeah. Similar kind of case on the outside.
Yeah. Other case, but actually, I gigged with that for a good couple of years. Me and the drum machine in the band I was in.
That I reckon is gonna go. €295 is a good price, so I wouldn't be surprised if that goes. Actually, quite interestingly, there's actually a DR670 that's also on eBay, and it's only $235. I think the DR670 is a digital though, but even still, that's not even a bad price either. I'll show you. It actually popped up in the little suggestions below. Like there's a whole bunch of suggestions below. Look at that. All right.
Ooh, good on.
Look at DR550 for $99.
Mini R8.
Wow, that is cheap.
Like the R8 had a little baby.
That was like the DR202. DR202 added part mutes and also had a resonant filter you could tweak and stuff. It was nice.
Look, DR3.
Wow.
Is the DR3 digital? I don't remember.
Oh yeah, I have one of those. They're crap. I go with those really cheap. It's not great.
I remember this was an era where it was kind of like the poor man's drum machine, the Boss Dr. Rhythms, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Because if you couldn't afford a TR-808 or an Oberheim DMX, or back in the day, this is the era that we're in, right? You got one of these, or you got a Alesis
or a Casio RZ1.
Well, yeah, I don't remember seeing the problem. I don't know what it is with Casio in Australia. They just didn't get in. They didn't get market penetration as much in Australia.
Not even CZ1.
No, not really. No. The only time I ever saw them is when I travelled to Singapore. We used to go up to Singapore a fair bit, and I used to see them in the and you'd bring back your Casio stuff, your Casio watches, and your Casio electronics.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. No, it was all about watches and calculators over here when it came to Casio. Yeah. Like, why would you
Casio
want to
is super popular in this part of the U.S. I can't remember at the East Coast it was the same, but because almost no one I knew had Yamaha like Portasound stuff. Everyone had Casio stuff.
Yamaha were big here. We had a lot of Yamaha. We had Yamaha and Roland were the two big, synthy type brands in the 80s in Australia. And then you got, you had some Korg, you had some, sequential Profits were selling because they were popular, but not as many, especially in the 80s when...
We had the Portasounds in the stores, but they weren't as popular. For some reason, everyone bought Casio, even though Yamaha was right next to it. So I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah. In Perth, I remember in Perth when I first moved here, Yamaha stuff was huge here in the city. But it wasn't necessarily like that in the other parts of Australia where I lived. Like, for example, I lived in Sydney for a while, and Roland were huge in Sydney. Like, you'd actually go to the music shops in Sydney and you'd get the big Jupiters, and there'd be all the Junos, there'd be all the big sort of flagship synths in Sydney. And in Perth, when I moved over to here, they had all the flagship Yamaha stuff. So,
what about sequential? Is that popular at all?
I don't remember when the Prophet 5 came out. It was like the late 70s, right? So I was still a kid. I was not even a teenager then. So I don't remember it. I only remember it as a second-hand synth in my sort of lifetime. I can't remember when Sequential stopped selling them new, but there was a period where obviously they stopped and you couldn't get them anymore, and they were actually quite... You'd go to gigs, people had them on, synth players had them because they were popular, but you couldn't buy them. So what people would do is there was this kind of birth of the digital stuff was coming in the 80s, right? When I started becoming a teenager, it was the start of the digital era. And so you started seeing things like what Daren and I have, like the XP series from Roland. They were kind of like early 90s, mid 90s sort of synths, and they had the Prophet sounds in them. They had all the old Roland sounds in them and everything. So for most people in Australia, they were good because it was kind of like, well, you want those sounds, but you also want a normal piano. You want to also have an EP, a Rhodes, and you can also have an Oberheim. It's all in the one thing, and you're going to be playing it in your band. So people bought that because that made sense. There was less of that sort of studio one box for one thing type thing. It wasn't as popular. I feel like it's more popular now, where people actually are buying instruments because of what they actually do, as opposed to convenience.
Yeah,
because the laptops
like guitars, you buy them for the sound and the
specializing,
certain special things about them.
Yeah,
specializing, buying synths for special reasons.
But going back to Casio, I once went to this. Well, this is probably more like the 90s than the 80s. I went to this place in Penang called the Komtar, which is kind of like this circular. It's not quite circular. It's more sort of like a polygon shaped building, but it's in a sort of circular shape. And every floor was just like electronic peddlers, tiny little electronic shops. And there was hundreds of them, and there was like levels and levels and levels. And, you'd go into one and you'd do a deal with someone. You'd walk out, go up a level, go to another one, and you'd see it for $10 cheaper in the same building.
I remember that. Yes.
The
electronic quarters.
But that's where all the Casio stuff was. I remember the famous, the famous little handheld Casio. Was it? It's not the CS1. Yeah, CS1, wasn't it?
You know about the Yamaha?
No, the little famous Casio.
The calculator.
The calculator with the little tiny
VL1.
VL1. That's it.
VL1. I've got one.
The little VL1.
VL tone, they called it. VL tone.
Yeah. And I remember finding one, because they weren't new, but then they were like old. They were considered older technology, right? I remember going into one of these little tiny electronic peddlers, and he had one sitting new in a box on the shelf that no one was interested in, because it must have been there for 10 years, this thing. It'd been sitting there. It was in the 90s. And I bought it off him. And the guy was really, really happy to let this thing go. He was like making sure that I was definitely going to buy it. He definitely, it was kind of like that. It was like patting me on the back as I walked out. He's trying to sell this thing for about 10 years.
You made. Do
you remember how much it was?
I can't remember, mate. I had it. It died on me. It ended up. Yeah. You couldn't repair it. It died on me. A long time ago, though. So I mean, I had it for about 10 years. Did you play the trio
song with it?
Yeah.
Da da da.
Yeah.
Da da da.
I just remember it being
bought mine.
Really kind of tinny sounding.
Yeah, it
is. Yeah,
but
inbuilt speaker.
I bought mine probably like 10 years ago. They weren't that expensive.
No,
I got mine like 5 years ago. Yeah,
they're expensive now.
Funny.
Yeah,
are they? You might sell mine then.
I can't remember electrically what the problem was with mine, why it broke. And even back in the day, I still dabbled with soldering irons and things. So I probably had an element
not in
of
Casio gear though.
Well, I mean,
it's really dense,
really compact. It's probably early days of surface mount. But I don't know. I'm always thinking that I probably should have kept it, and I didn't. But I did, but I didn't. So
it was one of those things that wasn't great at anything. It was a shit calculator, and it was just a goofy little music instrument. So it wasn't really good at anything.
It would do boobs, though, wouldn't it? It could do boobs.
Yeah. All right. Well, while we're talking about stuff, we should do How's Your Week Been? And I just want to quickly shout out to everyone who is watching us live on Instagram. Big shout out to Instagram people. Currently, there are no one watching us on Instagram. On TikTok, there is 82 people watching us right now. So big hello to everyone on TikTok. I think Ian popped in there before.
I am.
So it's good that TikTok's back.
I'm still there.
There's actually more people on TikTok watching than there are on YouTube. Facts.
Yeah, how weird is that?
Facts. Yeah. So big shout out to the TikTokers. You guys are holding the fort up. Well done, guys. It's the younger generation. That's the platform they're on. That's how you get reach to people. So can't beat.
Well, it's all the short form stuff, right? The short attention span.
Yeah. Usually. No, but even still, I mean, I've translated this video into portrait format, so they can still watch it. It's not clipped or anything. It's just that our things, in the middle, and there's black above.
Are you doing pan and scan?
Nah, I can't be bothered doing that.
Let the AIs do
I'll
it.
do the same.
Yeah. We're going to do How's Your Week Been? And we'll start this week with Big Daren. How's your week been?
Week's been fine. I've just been plugging away, writing me set. In fact, I was literally writing it just before I come on the chat. So I was just cutting it fine. So that's basically what I've been doing all week. I had no chance to do it. Work, boiler being fixed, and writing the live set for it'd be about another hour and a half. So I've got plenty of live sets. I've just got to carry on finishing it off, take another month or so. But next week I might not be on the show next week because I might be going to Waves in the Park in Bradford. So if anyone's there around Bradford, pop down to Waves in the Park. I think there's quite a few playing. Andy and Grace playing. Oh God, I can't list them all off. But yeah, be a good show. I think they're even intending on doing another one in October. So it's hopefully the weather will be okay. So that's if I'm not on the show next week. It's not 100% yet, but just so you know. But other than that, I haven't actually had a chance to do anything else apart from writing and work. So yeah,
Awesome.
that's my week.
Well, you can come back the week after and tell us all about your show. How's that sound?
Yeah, well, I'm not playing. I might try and stream it if I can, if I get a chance. We'll see how it is. It might be tricky. There is supposed to be 5G. It is going to be streamed actually on Emom Streams. So if you watch Emom Streams, there's a chance that it's going to be streamed live. So if I can, I might call in from there. If not, check out Emon Streams. So you can see what it'll be like.
We can probably cross to it. I don't know. Oh, I guess we can't.
Well, we can. We'll see how we go. Hopefully it doesn't break any rules. Hey, Andy, how's your week been?
Hey, all right. What happened? Not that much happened. The weather's been kind of so-so. Not good enough for astronomy lately, so I haven't done any shows there. Had fun making a spy jam this week for Hardware Jams. I was channeling my inner Lalo Schifrin and John Barry. What else? My little goodie finally showed up. My cigarette. So now I can smoke the cigarette.
Yay!
But this thing's actually menthol. Amazingly powerful. Version 1.2, the firmware came out fairly recently, I think. So that made a huge difference because, in a nutshell, I'll show you real quick. All the encoders up here. Mm-hmm. You have your drum section here. Sorry, over here. There's a drum section. There's a synth sample section in the middle. It has a DX mode. One of the channels is a 4-operator DX mode, so it's basically a reface DX inside the box. And 2 synth channels that are they call them synth, but they're really AWM sample based channels, AWM2, and a sample track sample thing you can just do like one shots pretty much. But built this amazing system, this menu system where there's no menu diving. It's all these little pre-screened backlit words on the bottom, and as you jump around, you can do live effects tweaking on them. And what's really clever is they have this little master switch, so you can do mastering or individual as you're doing the live stuff. First box to have stuff all over the place. It has little buttons on the sides, buttons on the top, some buttons and jacks on the bottom, on the right, and then a couple buttons on the bottom. So they really made use of the entire surface to give you as many controls as possible. So it's quite an amazing little box, and I even have a cool little travel rig for it because it's got to be park bench compatible and also have all your goodies with you. So there's a little case with the battery to charge it, extra time, cables, manual, all that kind of stuff.
Did you get yours brand new?
Cool. Oh yeah, there's a sale on. I don't know if you still can get it. $299 my price, so it's $100 off. through Yamaha right now, and a lot of the dealers are honoring that. So if you're interested, I mean, $100 off. It's
like 40%.
It's kind of a steal, actually.
Yeah,
it's pretty awesome. So that was always a no-brainer. I wanted to try one. I wasn't too thrilled at NAMM when I played with it because it was really quick. But once I understood what they were trying to do with it, and the fact that you have the little buttons at the bottom or step buttons, also has a keyboard mode, so it lights up with the white and black keys, which is kind of nice. They have the same shape, and you can easily hook in a USB controller to it, like a Q Nexus or some other kind of portable thing that has pads on it to give yourself your velocity and your.
Did that $299 price include taxes, Andy?
That's the street price direct. Yeah, so you still got to pay.
Yeah, you still got to pay your taxes. So one of the things that I never got my head around about the US was you'd go around places, right, and you'd see the prices written on stuff. And even when you're like buying food, you'd see the price, and you go, "Oh, cool, it's $5." And then you go pay for it. You're paying $5 plus all these little, tiny little taxes. Don't forget,
we have state tax. Every state's different, so you can't really publish that easily.
Yeah,
you got to republish everything everywhere you put it. People are lazy; they don't want to do that.
Yeah.
So you have to know your own state tax. You do the math in your head.
When you look at $299, what did it actually cost you in the pocket though? Was it $299 plus what 10% sales tax or
what are we 9.25% now, something like that percent tax? So not terrible, but I mean everything is the same way. So I can't. There was a loophole in the glory days when eBay and Reverb were fairly new. And before they had a law come about, you could basically go, "Oh, I'm going to buy it either through another state or through this thing, which is international potentially, and have no sales tax."
Yeah.
And at some point, they went, "No, we're not letting you go with that shit anymore. You pay tax no matter where it is, even if it's the same state, the state next to you, or internationally, whatever. We're going to pay some stupid tax."
We'll go to you in a sec, Ian and Chris. I just wanted to mention, so it is discounted at the moment in Australia, and it seems to be the same discount, Andy. So in Australia, it works out to be $519. So you can buy the black and grey one for $519.
Oh, I didn't know you had that, Ian.
Yeah,
it's fun, right?
So that's the one.
It's great fun. There's a deal on in the UK as well for everybody. So I went for the black one because I wasn't so keen on the other colour.
The reason I got this, same reason I got the JDXI white, because this is so much easier to read these in low light.
Yeah. What was the price?
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
225. Free shipping.
That's actually really good. Is that so? That's including VAT.
Everything. Yeah.
That's actually really good. So, and that was Anderton's, was it?
Anderton's. Nobody else was cheaper. Most of those are doing it 250, 275.
And before I forget, it really is an OPZ copy. I mean, they copied the visualizer for it. The video visualizer.
Yeah, it is.
It's copied. Yeah. There's somebody that they don't have all the cool trig conditions that the OPZ has. Actually, and some of the other fancy stuff.
The cigarette one in Anderton's is actually $249, and the 225 one is the black and grey one. So it's still available. And Chris, if we bought that, we would get VAT excluded. It would actually end up being cheaper to buy that and ship it to Australia.
Okay.
Than buy it from store
everyone
DJ.
should get one.
Yeah.
I mean, it's.
You can't do it in the US because you get that stupid US tax shit going on. But
But no, I saw the deal. I mean, I have this rule: one synth in, one synth out. So I've sold a synth. I've also had to return a synth to Korg, and because I've got rid of two synths, I bought that.
Nice.
So
Yeah, so in a couple of days I'll do a stream on this thing.
You might as well,
tutorial stream.
Might as well go to you now, Ian. How's your week been?
Good. Still on the drugs, so I'm still Mr. Dopey and Sleepy, which I've been trying to come off the drugs, but it's not really working. But so I get the minute I try and come off the drugs, I've got more neuralgia pain, but we're getting there. So I just have to monitor, I'm fine sitting around or doing nothing. The minute I start to try and do anything with any exercise, I'm done, really. I put out a video on Monday, which was promoting a show that we saw in Edinburgh, which is coming back to London the 7th of May. It was the best show we saw at Edinburgh last year. If you're in London or can get to London, go see Dear Annie, I Hate You. It's absolutely brilliant. I'm going again to see it, but not till the end of the month. What else? I've been preparing for an EMOM in Bournemouth, which I am playing on Thursday, and we're playing it as a band. I'm not playing it on my own. I'm playing it with my friend Jason. So and that's going to be sort of improvised, but we roughly know what we're doing. We've had one rehearsal, and we won't get another one before the gig. And hopefully I'll video it, so you might be able to see it in future. Apart from that, welcome to London. And I bought it's London, so we've got a cinnamon bun.
Nice.
Best cinnamon buns in the world. So
there you go.
That's for after the show. Good week, really. I mean, like I say, having to manage the feeling, the lack of energy is interesting because I'm not used to that. But and it is a well-known thing with this drug because it's quite it's for epilepsy. I might have said that already before. Normally use it for epilepsy, but I'm using it for neuralgia. But there's a whole load of stuff about people saying they literally sleep for 3 hours after taking it and stuff like that. So it's a well-known side effect of it, but it's certainly curing the neuralgia pain at the moment. But good week really overall.
Awesome. Well, hopefully that whole thing disappears soon for you, mate.
Yeah, it will. It will at some point. It's just going to take some time, I think. The doctor did warn me it would take some time.
Cool.
Awesome. All right. We'll head over to Chris. Hey, how's your week, mate?
Hey, not bad. First of all, overflow from last week. Who would like to see some video of flow soldering or reflow soldering?
Sure. Why not?
Go for it.
So yes, this is me. Now, anyone watching this who knows anything about this will immediately point out one of the things I've done wrong. Although that's pretty cool.
Well, that's damn quick. I know. How do you do it that quick?
Quick.
It's sped up.
It's sped up.
I know.
Oh, really? I thought it's like a machine. You can get them all done in about 5 minutes.
Yeah, that's how fast the Chinese could do it. It's really simple. Too much solder paste.
Oh, okay. Oh, definitely on that first
one. You really need minimal.
Less is
totally
more,
yeah. Like it's really hard to actually. It's because the pads interface so closely to the component pads that it doesn't need much solder.
Mm.
When you solder it using a soldering iron, with just normal solder, you actually use a lot more solder than you do with SMT. So if you've done that a couple of times, you kind of expect it to look the same and behave the same, but it's very much a different ballpark.
Is that 40-60 or what is that? What is the ratio?
What was the that would be probably 40-60 because I grabbed the leaded stuff because I always like the good stuff.
Your heat gun's working well?
Heat gun is working well so far. Hopefully it lasts. I find with anything that blows hot air, the biggest issue is how long they last before they stop working.
The element,
because that wire is pretty. But this one's from a reputable electronics supplier, so I hope it'll do a bit better than the last one I bought. But it wasn't a heat gun; it was a reflow gun. It was a regular one. Yes. So anyway, it's like I think we've all seen that now. Yes. So interestingly and vaguely related to that, this week I've been interfacing with our friends in China over circuit board manufacturer, and I've actually, for the first time, gotten to assemble something for me. Normally I just get PCBs made, and because generally I only use 3-hole components, I do all the assembly here myself. And that's what you saw there is the first surface mount component I've ever used in one of my modules, and so I thought, let's find out how just how it works, getting assembly done, and how expensive or not expensive it is. And it's been a fairly slightly stressful but eye-opening experience. For this work I'm doing with these LEDs, it's actually surprisingly uneconomical compared to doing it yourself. So that's going to be an interesting one. I'm probably just going to have to get better at it and learn to perhaps be less of a perfectionist, because the whole thing about these things is that sometimes you just kind of have to go, put that aside, didn't work, get another one, do that. Like that whole sort of sense of cheapness of components is something that's a bit of a learning curve for me, because I'm so used to thinking of every through-hole component, thinking about the cost of each individual one and how much it costs to buy. Whereas with surface mount components, you buy them on a reel and they're in 1,000, and whatever, you pay $20 for them, and you don't think of them as things you can drop and lose, but they literally are fractions and fractions of cents each. You've got to learn to just right, bin, that didn't work. Oh, there you go. Everything worked perfectly. Sweet, we move on. So that kind of attitude is something I'm learning when it comes to surface mount stuff. It's a bit different when you're talking about surface mount, expensive surface mount ICs and stuff like that. That's a bit different. But for this kind of stuff, for LEDs and stuff like that, individual components, it's kind of, they're inexpensive components. Don't waste time, because that's the only thing about doing this kind of stuff is how much time it takes. So I need to get faster at doing it if I want to keep it economical. But I think I can still do better than what it's going to cost me to get it done remotely. Having said that, I'll see what I get, because I might be like, okay, this is so much better than I really want it. But maybe I'll be like, makes no difference in the end product if I do it my way versus doing it professionally. So interesting thing there. So so mainly getting circuit boards ready. From fair bit of work in the weeds lately. I've got some modules that have tested and working functionally perfectly. Everything that I've designed them to do, they're doing. However, I'm getting into the weeds of things like signal noise, crosstalk, and digital noise. And it's been a bit of an eye-opener in terms of just monitoring systems. One of the things I'm noticing is that I've got so used to using speakers now that so much of my music making and noodling around and fun is with speakers. And I forgot about the whole thing about putting on your headphones, being able to hear things that you just can't pick up through speakers. It's a weird thing. I don't know what the phenomena is, but it's one of those things where it's like, oh, well, it's not there. Why would you matter? Well, because a lot of people listen to music in headphones. And it's like, kind of a different benchmark. So there's been a bit of, things where I've scrutinized things a bit more and gone, is that okay? Is that not okay? How does that compare to something else that someone makes? Is it a good number? Is it a bad number? How do I measure the number to find out whether it's a good or bad number? So that's the weeds I've been in lately. Sort of good functionality, but now I've got to look at the specs and see whether there's things I can do better or whether what I've got is really quite acceptable. So a bit of a learning curve there for me. So apart from that, everything's okay here. All family's okay. Nothing's burning down. It's all good.
Awesome. Fantastic. Well, we got through How's Your Week Been? And now it is time to give you guys the last clue for the synth quiz. Here we go. Hybrid. Sorry, it says clue number 1. I don't know. What is it? I edited that on the show last week, and it's obviously not kept the
reverted.
Yeah, hybrid is the third clue. It is actually the third clue, guys. So you've got the 3 clues now. When you guys put your suggestion in, can you highlight my name, Ranzee? Synth quiz is the next thing you need to write, and then your answer, what your guess is. Yeah, you did. You got the second.
Wow.
You just weren't paying attention, Mr. Half God, Half Beast. You definitely got the second.
I get a water break. I missed the damn clue. Oh, well.
Yeah.
These things happen. All right. Well, we are going to go to Saturday Sonority. Yep. We have got to the part of the show where you guys can now jump on to Zoom if you want to and ask us questions, or jump into chat and ask us questions. Any of us, like Daren, Andy, Ian, I'm sure that'd be asking away, or answering away, I should say. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, before I forget, here's the JX3D link for later. So here's the show link.
Okay. Most of you guys should just subscribe to his channel, which would probably be...
Yeah, but, people forget. So, and it doesn't always work, by the way. I've been subscribed to all kinds of channels, and I don't get notifications for everybody.
Yeah. Well, people have been complaining that they don't get my notifications. I honestly think...
yours today.
I honestly think my YouTube channel was jinxed. I honestly do, because, like I said, I've been doing... Actually, during the week, I got a notification from YouTube saying happy 10th anniversary on YouTube. And it is. I actually looked at my first video, and it was 10 years ago, 2015, when I did the coffee table jam. And I'm just thinking to myself, wow, 10 years on YouTube. I actually put a lot of effort into videos over the years. And it's kind of like you see people with 1 million subscribers, or, you just think to yourself, wow, obviously whatever I'm doing is not that interesting. So sometimes it humbles you a bit, and it kind of makes you think, well, what's the point? Why do I do this anymore? But anyway, 6 years.
Shadow blocking is a real thing on YouTube.
I've looked into it. Yeah. I'm not sure.
Ranzee, I think you pissed off one too many Frenchmen. That's it. So.
I don't think it was happening then, mate. I think that was way later on down the track. I remember, like in the early days, myself and Ken Flux Pierce were like talking about how long we were on YouTube for, and there was not many synthy people on YouTube doing it regularly. You'd get people coming and going, but you'd never get sort of people who were consistently doing it. And if I was to think about who's been consistently doing it for longer than me, there's a few, but obviously the Sonic State Nick's guy, he's been doing it for a long time. And 2010 I think was when he started, or it might even been earlier than that. I'm not sure if it was YouTube.
This whole web infrastructure with all the review section and stuff, that's all old school. I mean, he's been around forever.
Yeah, a lot of it's automated.
He did it before YouTube. He did it as an audio podcast.
Podcast, yeah.
Audio, in fact, I think Bert was there as well in those days.
Yeah, I was listening to the old days. We had that competition. You had to do a jingle. Kent Spong won that jingle.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Don't give him clues, Bert, in the chat. Don't give him clues if they're asking questions. Bad luck if they'd missed it. Don't give in to the...
I saw Ken Flux Pierce when he's in a dark room with just a bunch of stuff around him, like the old days.
Yeah.
His old setup.
He still likes the dark rooms.
This is very different because he's in a corner. He's like a corner desk area. With
he's
all
more
stuff
expansive now. Yes, definitely.
Yes. The other thing that's interesting too is after a long period of time, you do get fads. You get people who have come and gone. We fondly talk about Andy Brooks. He was here and now he's not here anymore. He's got his reasons, but I'm just using that as an example.
No, he is here. He's not passed away.
Yeah, he's around, but he's not on the show. Yeah.
He's not part of the circuit.
He's not regular anymore. It does come on.
He's on other circuits.
He does come on. This is not a dig at him or anything. I'm just sort of using it as an example how you have people that come and go, and it's kind of like when you think about I was thinking about the 10 years. During the week, I was talking to Mac on I don't know where he is. It's not been feeling well. Big shout out to Mac, by the way. I think he's been getting some work done on him in the hospital. I won't go into it. I was talking to him about sometimes I feel like just giving up, packing it in, and I was having a bit of a depressed week this week. myself, because it's like it's a lot of work, and I don't really know if you do this, you don't do it to get something. You have to do it because you enjoy doing it, and you have to enjoy it because you love it, I guess. There are times where it becomes a job, and that's when you start to feel depressed about it. So
that's what we talked about in your special stream a few days ago.
You
have to like it, because it's going to cost you money, it's going to be time, it's going to be all this stuff. So you really have to do it because you like it. For
me, we also give up our Saturday nights here, because it's actually Saturday night. It's 10:30 p.m. here. Now, most music people would be gigging on a Saturday night if they're still performing live. So I for the last 6 years I have given up my Saturday night to do this show, and the odd time where I couldn't do it, I've taken it off. But I tend to find out that people really get nasty if you don't do a show. If you miss 1 week, they get really, really nasty. So I don't know if you guys have noticed, but in the last few years, I've tried to get guest people run the show, like especially Henrik. Henrik's been amazing. So he's done quite a few of them now for me over the years, and that way the show keeps going. But it's funny, isn't it? Like, you get someone running the show for you, and then you watch the people who watch it regularly make comments or react through likes and dislikes, and it's you get a different reaction about how the show's been run, and who watched it, and whether there's sort of the same amount of viewers and things like that. And it's kind of weird, and you just think, well, like, they didn't need to give up their time to do the show. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, you do. You get hate mail, absolutely. Bert, you get hate mail. You have to be Teflon coated, mate, to be a YouTuber.
Yeah, absolutely.
To be a musician. I mean, put yourself out there, period. You have to be Teflon coated.
Yeah, you have to be, mate. I've been doing, like I said, I've been doing this for 10 years. The amount of people who have, like, said really nasty things to me, you just can't take it seriously. You just think, oh, these guys are on drugs or whatever they're on.
So you always have to do it for yourself first.
Yeah, they're usually people with they haven't got a YouTube channel as such, because there'll be no content on their YouTube channel, and so they're just out there to get a right.
Not even copy videos. Yeah. You have it's blank.
And I mean, there was a time because I've probably said this before. I had a video that blew up, and I was getting sort of 30 to 40 messages a day at one point on this one particular video. It wasn't about synths, it was about guitars. And in those, it's fairly early on, and I would then I would reply to everybody. So if it was positive, I'd say, yeah, thanks very much for the comment. If it was negative, I would then try and make a joke out of it to some extent. Don't reply. Having been in education and being in that situation where students would always give you feedback, and then you wouldn't be bothered about the 100 feedbacks you got that would say, oh, Ian's session was great. You'd be bothered about the 2 or 3 that said, oh, I didn't like the way Ian walked around the lecture hall. And and in those days, that sort of stuff used to bother me. But yeah, you're right about it being Teflon coated. You just let it go. It's their issue, not yours.
Well, you get people on stage that say they see the crowd is happy, and they see a couple of frowny faces, and that can ruin the whole night for them. So
yeah.
I'm lucky that I've had.
There's always going to be somebody who hates it.
Over the years, I mean, my sister worked in radio. She worked publicly, well known in radio, and we've had discussions about stuff like this. So I kind of had some coaching in a way, not really not mentoring or anything like that, but just coaching about like what to prepare for. And she would tell me things like people would write in to the station and just be really nasty about stuff, and you just can't take it seriously. So I kind of really didn't want to go down that little sort of rabbit hole, but we ended up doing it anyway. Can I just kind of pull that back over to where I was going with it? So I do get comments on videos and things, and I don't know. Last week I re-showed the multigrain snippet out of the Synth Geekery show. The reason why I do this, you guys, I don't even really need to tell you guys because you understand anyway, but for those who are watching this on replay, the reason why I do it is because not everyone watches the whole 3-hour Synth Geekery show. And by the time they got to the multigrain section, they probably, if the average viewer only watched 20 minutes of that show, they wouldn't have seen it. So I snip it out and I put it up as a separate video. And then you get people who are pissed off because I wasn't doing a review. It didn't say review. It said excerpt from Synth Geekery show. Read your freaking bloody, people don't read. Yeah, they don't. Anyway, so here's a comment that I got. This is not nasty or anything. So we're going to answer this comment. This is why I wanted to pull out of the rabbit hole we were talking before. This is just a comment. It's a question that was asked by, I'm not going to say who, but we're going to answer it. Sir, can I ask a question? Is this the first time to purchase... Sorry, this is first time to purchase Modular. I will buy multigrain. Only what I want is playing granular and sampling. So if I buy only multigrain, it works. I want to play real time and connected with my Ableton Live. What should I buy more? It seems another module connected. So first thing I've got to do first here is we need to identify this guy doesn't speak English as a first language, right? We're not rubbishing him or anything. It's just he's making an effort to write something. He knows I speak English. He's gone to that effort to try and translate it. Maybe he's used Google Translate or whatever. It's all good. I don't have a problem with that. Second question, you can definitely tell that he's a newbie when it comes to Eurorack because he's asking questions that only a new person would ask. And in this sense, I probably would suggest this guy doesn't even go down the path of buying multi-grain if he doesn't even understand what he's getting himself into. And I mean that with kindness, because if he goes and if his first module is multi-grain and that's his Eurorack endeavor, that's his start to Eurorack, it's going to be a very quick realization that that's going to be at least another 4 or 5 modules for him to be able to get to something useful in his little setup. Technically, you could use multigrain as a single module. You could, but you're going to have the problem where the line level is different than what Eurorack levels are. So you'll need to have something that will boost line level. So if you're going to take a signal out of a synthesizer, like a desktop synth or anything like that, into multigrain, you're going to need to boost that signal to get to the Eurorack levels, because Eurorack levels are traditionally it's about 18 dB, isn't it, Chris? I think there's a gain of about 18 dB. I think difference. I think some people say it's 20 dB. I actually think the correct term is 18, but it could be 20. And
it's 3 times 6, and every 6 dB is a doubling of the amplitude.
Yeah, so 18.
5 volts to 15 volts.
Yeah, exactly. So
that's the way to remember it. Yeah.
So you've got gain issues.
If it's already in Ableton, get Traction Spacecraft. It's a granular thing. It's a plugin.
Or
already in the computer.
Or get Pigments.
So
get Pigments
or whatever. Yeah, but Spacecraft is cheaper, I think. But.
Yeah, true. Well, actually, no. Pigments is only like $40, so it's cheap.
Is it?
Yeah, it's like $40 to get Pigments.
I haven't bought it for a long time. Okay.
At the moment. So anyway, there's that. But if you are going to go and buy a multigrain because it's really excited you, well done, congratulations, and welcome to Eurorack. I would suggest that you get yourself a decent case, because you're going to need to put some more modules next to it, and that is what you've actually kind of hinted to in your last sentence there. It seems another module connected. What you mean is it seems like you will need to have other modules connected to it, and that's exactly what you'll probably need to do. So welcome to Eurorack. It's a different journey for you. It's going to be completely different. Why we entered Eurorack is all personal. We all have different reasons. You could ask anyone that's in chat right now. Like Andy Synchrotron he had different reasons why he entered Eurorack that I did, but both of us, like as Eurorack people, we really enjoy the journey and the life that we've got with it. For example, with me, I wanted to have the ability to create a connection to something which wasn't forced. So with a synth It's got all those naturalized connections in it already that you don't patch. You just turn knobs and you use what's been created for you. Whereas with Eurorack, you can create your own connection. You can manipulate things with control voltage how you want. And it can get crazy, whether it turns out to be sonically beautiful or not. That's kind of part of the learning and the enjoyment. But, I mean, good segue, right? I want to show you guys something. So
also get crazy money-wise. I'm already 20K in my system, so maybe more. So
I forgot.
I think most people know you're going to spend money. All right, so I want to show you something. So during the week, I always patch stuff. You can see right now it's a patch nightmare. It is because what I want to show you is that sometimes you can use things more than what you actually are seeing in front of your face. And in this particular case, I've got an oscillator here, which is the VCZ3A oscillator. And I am sending this out into a filter, and then that's going through and it's being manipulated with an envelope controller, exactly what you see in front of your face. You think, okay, what's kind of cool about that? Nothing. That's what it's supposed to do. But what you can also do is you can also send out the same oscillator can send out to a different VCA and a different envelope controller with the same pitch getting sequenced, and then you get some interesting results. So let's have a look what I can do here. Let's go. Okay, so the first thing that I wanted to do was I'll put some drums in so you guys get the beats, right? So let's just do that. Press start. So you can see that's the VCZ going through the VCZ filter, and it's been sequenced by the SQ64, which is just here. I can move the camera down if you guys need to. I'll show you. So nothing exciting right now, except that's a kind of cool little bass line. There's the SQ64 sequencing it there. All right, but sometimes with Eurorack, you can do things that you can't necessarily do with normal synths. Like I said, I can pipe out this oscillator and I can, using the same pitch from the sequencer, I can create this. It's just exactly the same notes coming out of the SQ64 because it's been controlled at the oscillator level. But it's a different beat. Now you can mix them together. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, polyrhythms in modulation.
Yep.
Another way I think of it.
And I'm using math as my envelope controller.
Oh, nice. I like that.
You can turn it off. When you blend it back in, you just get some really interesting sort of beating and, like you said, Chris, polyrhythm type effects. That's just one oscillator generating all of that sound just then. And obviously, okay, I'm lucky I've got a couple of effects modules there. I've got a couple of envelope generators. I've got a couple of, different filters and things that I can help manipulate that with. But generally speaking, this is why I get into Eurorack, because my flexibility is completely infinite. And you discover these things. Like, I'm looking at this oscillator, I'm going, there's friggin' 6 outputs on this oscillator. Why don't I use one? Not just, why don't I use 2? What am I going to do with the second one? Okay. And then it just kind of went from there. It just went on to a little rabbit warren. And if you ever wonder why people do Eurorack, it's because they want to be able to be in control. And they understand that it's going to cost them money. And when people say negative things about Eurorack, oh, it's expensive, it's a rabbit hole, it's blah blah blah. I just ignore it because for me, it's like it's like saying if you see someone who I don't know, races cars for a living, right, down at the local car racing track, you know that they're going to be spending hundreds of thousands of pounds or dollars on getting that car race ready each week. You know that it's a labour of love. They've bought tyres, they've put engine mods in, they've fixed the panels when it got pranged. Do you know what I mean? They know that. So it's a hobby that people know about. So if you look at any hobby that anyone ever does, there's usually a cost to those hobbies. And I think if you want to be negative about anyone's hobby, of course you could use the cost as a reason for you not to do that hobby. Great.
Well, the difference is the barrier to entry is usually quite low. So you quickly spend a bunch of stuff on little things, and after a while you don't pay attention, and then it adds up and it gets crazy. It's like a kid in a candy store, right? Candy's cheap, but pretty soon you have way too much candy. Yeah. So you just got to watch it because the endorphins get going, and you want to buy a little bit of everything.
I think it's a classic thing that interacts differently with different personalities.
Yeah.
The actual Eurorack world can be experienced in different ways depending upon your base personality. Some people get really carried away and out of control before they sort of can pull back. Some people, just don't want to get anywhere near it because it's like, they feel that scared of it, or they really don't think they can control themselves, or they just don't want to get in a situation where they think they're going to get fooled and talked into something that they should, and they can't handle the idea of a failure or not, something being a disappointment, for example.
But they have OCD, and they have a lot of wires everywhere, so
there's a lot of people.
For me, I think it's about it's the cost thing that would be prohibitive, if I'm honest. I spend too much on synthesizers anyway. It's not that I'm certainly not scared of Eurorack. I mean, the stuff that I've done in Max MSP, you could argue is building Eurorack really in software.
Absolutely. Guitar pedals too.
Guitar. I mean, I spend more money on guitar pedals than I should have done, and I mean, wiring all them up together. I mean, I put them into a case sometimes and go to an EMOM with them. So that's a weird sort of Eurorack in its own way, really.
Yeah, guitar pedal addiction is another thing, isn't it? Yeah.
I mean, I shouldn't have bought the SEQTrak really, but I justified it to myself because it was cheap.
Yeah,
it's cheap,
exactly.
and I stole some synths, so
I'll give you guys
Eurorack. I couldn't do that.
So I'll give you guys another kind of example of what I was talking about before. You guys are just kind of embellishing the point anyway. So over here, you guys noticed that we had the SE-02 last week on. We were talking about this a couple of weeks ago. This is a great little synth. I actually still think this is actually the best boutique that Roland ever made, and the reason why it is because they collaborated with Studio Electronics on it. But it's got some major flaws in it. It's got some major flaws. Like, seriously, there's things that this can't do that a mini mode can do, and there's things that the mini mode can't do that this can, like, for example, store patches and things. We get it, right? But there's things that this has in it that really pisses me off. For example, the LFO on here has a sync mode. There's a sync switch here. If I actually drop this down, just knock my microphone out the way for a sec, just so people can see what I'm talking about. I guess that'll have to do. So you can see here there's the sync switch on the LFO, and you've got 3 or 4 different modes on there. I think it's 4 actually. The bottom one is free running, which is just a little hash symbol. The top one is it syncs to the clock, which you set up in your settings here, and the LFO will sync to the clock. Well, guess what? It doesn't. It doesn't sync to the clock. It completely ignores the clock, and it's a complete little bitch of a thing that just doesn't want to play ball. The delay syncs to the clock. It does that beautifully. And thank God it does, because that would have just completely made me throw this at the screen if it didn't. But I mean, we can get around the LFO not syncing to the clock, but it is actually kind of annoying when you want to do beat-based LFO modulation type things.
Have you checked the manual and made sure that it actually does?
It's a known
say what it.
It's a known thing.
They say they do claim that was the purpose of the switch.
No, it's a known issue. It's a known bug with Roland, and they've neglected to update. Maybe they can't. I'm not sure what the reason for it is. Some people claim that it they don't have a problem with their SE-02, and I just, if you look at the forum posts on this, there's a pretty decent amount of people that have claimed, yep, there's definitely a bug with this. We don't know why. This has got the latest firmware. Everything's all good with that, so don't worry about it. It's not. Do you know what I mean? It's not a jailbreaker or a deal breaker or anything like that. It's just annoying. And like I said, you could probably work out a way to pipe this through something else and modulate it some other way. For example, you noticed on here I do have the SE-02 EXT box, and it does have a VCF CV input on here, and a gate, so I could send modulation into where my little finger's tapping just there. I have tried that. It does kind of work. It's not what when you think about signal paths with synths, right? Do you remember how I said before, one of the reasons why I got into Eurorack was because I can control how these things are all connected.
Yeah.
Right? I'm still not able to control the signal path, and I can't disconnect the VCA. This is one of the things we were talking about with the Cobalt from Behringer like the other day.
Yeah.
We can't disconnect the VCA. We and use our own VCA or pipe it out something else. So these naturalized patch synths that you buy that you guys love, they are fantastic. They do their job, but they are limited to what those patches can do. They are limited. No matter how many modulation matrix designs that they're going to come up with your next fandangled synth, and you probably think, oh my god, this is infinite. It's still not infinite. It's not, because there'll only be so many modulation inputs and outputs on it.
Another expectation is when you have a modular filter, you can go, oh, I can do anything with this filter. How many filters do you have that actually have CV control over resonance? Very few, right?
Yeah, very few.
So that's another thing. You don't always get every parameter controlled, so people think, oh, I have extra control, but not always. It really depends.
Many synths do you have? Not just modular. How many synths do you have that has CV or modulation control over resonance? The answer is probably the same. It's a lesser thing.
You expect it to be in modular, especially when you're getting into it. You think, oh, I should be able to patch anything.
Oh yeah,
I have like two filters that have that, I think. So
there's actually a design flaw with some of the feedback modules, which I can show you guys about. I don't know if it's a bad design on their behalf or if it's just a choice that they've made. But sometimes you buy things, right, and you have to accept the way things are designed.
Yeah.
Because you're just stuck with it. And I'll show you this as a great example. Okay, so let's go across. So if you look at the JP8 VCF, which is a Jupiter 8 VCF, and you'll notice down the bottom that it has CV1 and CV2. So it has two CV inputs. And you think to yourself, that's really cool. That's what I want to do. But there's only one attenuator for the CV input.
Ah, yes.
So that's a failure in my opinion. There needs to be two.
And no switch to choose, right?
So basically CV1 and CV2 are just two connections to CV1, technically.
Yeah.
It's not quite like that. He's done a kind of rudimentary thing. Now, if I go up and I look at
resistors,
if you go up here and you go left to the Roland Moleco VCF, there it is there on the left, right? And you look at what has this got. Okay, there's actually, by the way, this is actually two filters in here, not one. But if we just looked at the left side, right? So where it says 1, 2, 3. And you think of that as a column going down, and ignore the one that's the second 3 rows. Okay, so you're looking at the first 3 rows here.
Yep.
There is 3 CV inputs down the bottom. One is a key, which is a keyboard tracking input.
Yeah.
There's 2 CV with attenuated inputs. There's attenuated level inputs times 3, so you can actually plug 3 different audio sources into your filter.
Yeah.
And yes, Andy, you're correct. There is no CV control over the resonance on this filter. Don't worry, because in this particular case, I don't really care.
Did the original have it? The original synth?
No. Well, there's no...
Okay.
Be careful with this, because with the Roland System 500s, they are a hybrid of System 100Ms and System 700s.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah.
They're not necessarily a remake of something. So if I go back down to the feedback modules, right, this VCZ3 VCF has a resonance control over the CV of the resonance. There's actually a res CV control, and it actually defaults to CV2 here, which is underneath here. You can't see it. So some things have it, some things don't, some things do. It's you just got to do your research.
Yeah. Sometimes it's faithful recreation of a circuit, which means no, I won't do anything the original didn't do. Sometimes it's, that would have been cool. We ran out of time. We had to do the release, which I could identify with. And other times it's, we've got a bit more panel space. Let's put in a second CV. Won't have a attenuator, but it'll still be useful. And then you get that situation that you're in now, which is some people that would really piss them off more than if you hadn't put it on the panel in the first place. It's the old, switch and wait. It's like, you can do this. Oh, no, you can't quite do that. It's like, is that a bigger sin than leaving off a potential, it's a difficult line sometimes with designing modules, what to leave. Sometimes you have to leave off
the Behringer model
in order.
The Behringer Model D is supposed to be pretty faithful to the Moog Model D, right? Even with the flaws. So instead of fixing design issues, they try to be more authentic, and that some people like that. Some people go, "Come on, why can't you fix that?"
Yeah.
So.
Well, anyway, so to wrap up, I was just using the SE-02 as an example. I could pull out the other boutique that I've got right next to me here, which is the SH-01A, and explain to you how frustrating it is that Roland have only put CV on this as an output. So you can't actually CV control anything on it as an input.
Again, it's a balance thing. It's this, sometimes they will give you one thing on one hand and not give you the reflection or the mirror of it.
Did the original 101 have the input though? I don't know the 101 that well. So did the original have the input?
Ask Daren. He's got one. He's got a 101. I can't see it, Daren. What is it? They're CV ins for VCF and gate.
Okay.
So no, CV and gate. Yeah, so you do.
I had a
have
feeling I
inputs.
had a stack of them.
You do.
You're muted, Daren.
You're muted, mate.
Yeah.
Buddy boy, turn your volume up.
You've got gate in, CV out, CV in, gate in, and CV out, gate out.
Yeah.
Well, in the interest of balance, Ranzee, can I tell you one from Arturia that really pisses me off?
Yeah.
About a product. The drum brute impact next to me over there.
Sorry, I had to quickly press a button.
Sorry. Which way? That way. There it is. There it is. There.
Mm.
Oh, God. Drum brute impact has an annoying software fault that if you put it into external clock sync, so that's like a Eurorack clock or any other clock sync signal, not MIDI, put it into that mode and use it and everything's fine. You turn off the power, you turn it back on, it'll say it's doing that, but it actually won't. And you have to go out of it. You have to go out of it all the way around back into it again before it'll actually start functioning. Every time you turn off the power. And that has been in there for 7 years, and they've not done any firmware releases for it since then. So
probably because it's a hardware issue.
Well, it seems to me like it would be a simple thing to basically go, I've just powered up, let's make sure we reapply the routine that handles when the sync button is changed. That seems like it would be a fairly simple thing to fix.
Well, that would, yeah. Like a memory of its state when you power it off.
I think it remembers the state, but it doesn't actually refresh the function.
Yeah, gotcha.
When it boots.
Yeah.
As I said, so you go out of it and come back in, and it's like, yeah, I did it. Didn't I do that before? I didn't notice.
Yeah.
It's a minor little bug which happens in one particular sync mode, but it's there. I mean, I'm sure there'd be lots of people who would have complained about it, but some stuff just doesn't get fixed.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. Yeah, it's sometimes things just like, are gonna stay unfixed, and you just live with them.
By the way, speaking of SE-02, it's the only boutique that's not park bench compatible because it needs AC.
Yeah. Yep. But that doesn't worry me. That only just worries people.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
They're all portable except for that one because you got to use an inverter battery like I do. But
so I'm just thinking here, just going back to the SE-02 conundrum that I had, right? So I'm looking here. This is the Behringer Model D. So this is the competitor, right, to the SE-02. Okay, there's no patch storage, so we know, we get it, right? There's no sequencer, we get it. But there is a hell of a lot of CV control on this. And I'm pretty sure I can... Yep, I can do the LFO. Is that LFO out or in, though? I'm just trying to see. I need to zoom in. Sorry, it's... Oops, that's not zoom, that's up. Zoom in there, that's LFO in. Yeah. So I can send a clocked LFO into this. And I've got my problem solved with a clocked LFO. And I've got pretty much the same sonic capabilities on that as you'd expect. So I don't know, I kind of feel like there's design things. It's probably a good topic for a show coming up. Maybe we should do. What are some of the design flaws of synths that you completely can't stand? And we've already mentioned a few of them. Because this is the reason, personally, why I went into Eurorack. That's the reason. That was the first reason. You guys can probably even go back to, Daren will vouch me for this, go back to some of the earlier streams when I started putting Eurorack modules together. The whole reason why I went into it was flexibility of patching and creating your own, sonic sounds, timbres, things like that. I think one of my first ideas was I'd have a sound rack and then an effects rack. I think that was kind of one of the things I had. I think I had two Arturia racks, and then one of them was for effects and one of them was for sound, and that idea broke pretty quickly, and then it expanded.
I started with effects as well. That was a very slow build from effects, and then went, all these other things. Yeah,
because my first module that I ever owned was a Roland scatter thing. What was it called again? The IRA module, the scatter.
Starts with a D. Starts with a D, doesn't it?
No, I can't remember what it's called.
Because it was Demora. I can't remember what the other one was.
Demora, right?
There was three, weren't there?
Demora.
I can't remember that was a scatter one, though. Yeah, there was Demora.
Yeah, I love scatter.
I'll tell you what it is.
That's the problem with the System 1 rack. They took the scatter out. So you had to buy that stupid box.
It's called the Scooper.
Scooper.
Scooper. Yeah. All right, guys. We're going to draw the synth quiz. Indeed, it is time to reveal the answer for ASIO Head's Synth Master Synth Quiz. And you guys have probably been thinking to yourself, wow, this is a pretty difficult one. It's a difficult one. Very, very difficult. I can tell you that someone has got it correct. And here is the answer. It is the Polyevolver is the answer. So good job from Bert for his synth quiz this week. I'll just refresh you what the clues were. The first clue was 4-voice. Second clue was tequila. Third clue was hybrid. And that's what got you to Polyevolver. So
Very good.
I can tell you...
What's the tequila?
Well, I'll tell you in a sec. I can tell you who the winner is. And it's Jack. I'm pretty sure it's Jack that got it first. Can you guys in chat tell me if that's correct? Jack, J-E-K, Jack, got it first at about 11 o'clock my time, 11:02. He said, Jack, Ranzee, Synth Quiz, Polyevolver. I can tell you that there were lots of different ideas. There was a Cobalt 8, Modal 8, or something like that, someone. There was a few sort of crazy ideas. Yes. So well done, Jack. Done well. You got some bragging rights. If you want, mate, the prize can be, because we don't have a sponsor for this segment, because this show is so amazing. You guys, Jack, if you want to be the synth quiz master, sorry, I should say, for the week, you can do what Bert did, and he contacted me. He did it through Discord. You can do the same. I guess you're on Discord, I'm pretty sure. And you can send me a personal message and tell me what your 3 clues are and what your answer is.
So I have a question for Osiohead on this, because we both own the Polyevolver. We both love the Polyevolver. But is the tequila, is it a mode on there, or is it just because Dave Smith loved tequila? Because he's known for loving tequila. I can't remember.
I think it's because of the tequila that Dave Smith drank. I think it was a huge
There might be
clue.
like a setting on there or a mode called tequila. I don't remember. So
he might be able to answer that. I'm pretty sure it was because he drank tequila.
Cool.
He gave out shot glasses at all the shows, so that's what was his thing.
There was a few other options he gave me to use instead, but I was happy with his first 3 clues. I thought it was good. Usually the first is best. First was best. I liked it. I thought it was a really good effort.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, I liked how there was a personal, touch
exactly,
to it.
Yeah. It goes
Technically, it could be Evolver or Polyevolver or Mono Evolver with those clues.
Yeah,
because it didn't say anything about polyphony. Unless tequila is a mode. That's why I was asking about the tequila thing.
If you spilled tequila on it, it might be a mode.
Yeah, right.
I don't have a good relationship with tequila, or at least not a good history.
Yeah.
I think that was my first passed out drunk moment in my life.
I've tended to stay away from getting too carried away with tequila.
Well, as I said, it was only once because never did it again.
I did play in a band once where we used to drink tequila sunrises at rehearsals, and it became such a habit that we literally had to stop.
The problem, I don't know, you guys must be living in like places where you can just friggin' drink all you like and then, I don't know, jump in your car and crash into a pole. Where I live, there's literally like Australia is so big. Pretty much no matter where you go, you have to friggin' drive because public transport is almost non-existent. So yeah, it sucks. Like if you want to sink a few, you have to catch an Uber or a taxi or get a lift with a mate. That's just how it is here. So yeah, I mean in the early days in the 80s, you could probably get behind the wheel. Probably not a good idea. I might have done it once. I don't suggest anyone does it. But in those days, you probably got away with it more. But these days, there's booze buses and there's cops. Literally, I feel like where we live, we are completely entrapped. I remember watching this guy do a TikTok video, or I don't watch TikTok. What am I saying? Instagram video, where he was talking about. He was a tourists in Australia, and he was saying this place is a place of entrapment for revenue raising, where we have speed cameras. You guys are the same in the UK, right? It's probably no different.
Yeah.
There's speed cameras. We've got now the average speed cameras where it takes a photo of your car, logs it in the database.
Oh, we've had them for ages.
And you drive, a couple of miles down the road, and it takes another photo. And if you've exceeded the average speed, you get a little bill in the mail. And lose a few license points off your license. We get Cops can drug test you. They can blood test you. They search your car. Drop a little white bag. Oh, look, you're gone.
Yes,
I remember
certain special districts. Yeah. Sorry, you go in.
I used to get stopped fairly regularly going back from gigs this was the late 80s, early 90s. And it would usually be, I'd turn up back into York from a gig, and it'd be like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. They would stop and search me, and they'd search the car for drugs all the time.
Every time.
And I got to know the drug enforcement guys, Oh, it's you again. Yeah, I'm just back from a gig. Oh, we got to search you. We stopped you now,
That's why Kent finds them in synths. You got to put them in the synths to hide them. So
that was my mistake.
Doesn't stop the dogs from sniffing.
Don't do drugs, kids. Says the guy.
Coffee grounds next to it, so they don't smell anything but the coffee. So
that synth there, ESQ1. Where is it there?
Yeah.
That is really good for hiding stuff in there. It's like basically the circuit board's this big, and you've got this massive synth.
Yeah,
you could hide a body in there,
and it runs so hot it'll warm them up for you.
Good for one of your horror movies, Andy.
ESQ1 with an integrated bomb.
Yeah, as Biscuit says, I am on drugs, so as we speak. Don't listen to anything I say.
It is. I honestly think most 90% of the stuff is not. It's geared like propaganda wise. It's aimed at nanny state stuff, right? But it's purely. The government knows they're making a killing out of it, so they're not going to change any day now.
Well, San Francisco just added speed cameras to various streets that are supposedly just fines not going on your record for traffic school or something like that.
Isn't that against your constitution?
They've advertised it. We still have red light cameras too. So for a while, I thought they were banned because of ACLU.
You're about speed cameras on his constitution. Yeah. What's going on these days?
Yeah,
exactly. No one cares about the Constitution anymore, apparently. So it's out the window. But no, they just put all these cameras last month in several streets, and so they put cameras on both sides, so you get 2 images, so you can't fight it. Basically, they not just one camera, but they got you covered twice. So
there's a problem with driving where I live. Chris knows about it. And that is that my state is called Western Australia. It actually, the acronym is WA, but also WA stands for wait a while. And that tends to be what people do when a traffic light turns green here. And then
I thought you were going to say is what they don't do.
Well, yeah.
People are impatient.
Generally, the next thing that happens after you've been waiting a while is you get frustrated and you overtake someone. And generally, when you overtake someone, you are speeding. So
I know.
You know what the real bullshit is? San Francisco is famous for these streets, right? Like this.
Yeah.
And they're putting some of those cameras on those streets. So if you go slightly over the speed limit, you get a goddamn ticket.
See, that's revenue raising.
So
there you go.
Yeah,
that's
entrapment.
That's not driving to the conditions.
There's a lot of that sort of stuff going on in London. Actually, I got pinged going down a street, which was it wasn't a one-way street, but at certain hours of the day, the buses and cycles could only go down it. Wow. And I didn't see the sign, so I got a 60 quid fine when we came the other way. The other thing you see a lot around London is black BMWs, which are clearly drug dealing cars, going on all the time. There's loads of them. Not just around here, but literally all over the city.
Black BMWs.
They've got. You can't see inside the car. The window rolls down. Guy walks up to the car. You see it. It's just incredible. Really.
In the US, it used to be those Chrysler 360s or whatever they're called. Those black sedan, those big, massive, huge pontoon type Chryslers, and that was kind of like the cartel's car of choice. And then if it was a black SUV, if it was like a Ford Escape or something like that, or a big Dodge, it was a black SUV. You knew that was like the government. It was the FBI or CIA.
The feds.
Well, Uber has a thing called Uber Black, And
Yeah, I
as
know,
long as
yeah.
your vehicle is all black inside and out, you can do Uber Black and do like fancier rides just because it's black. No other reason. Crazy.
Really.
Yeah, because it's cool to be in a black car, which is
Yeah,
why
but
I
it's
own a
all
white
gray
car.
and stuff. It's it should be kind of nice, but they want black. So
Yeah. My wife's got a black car. And it's an SUV.
Oh wow! Try.
yeah, she could drive Uber
Trifecta.
Black.
I bought it for her we've had this car since 2009. I bought it for her when she had my second kid as a gift because she needed a new car and this car has been brilliant. Like it's cost me a fortune, but it's been an absolutely brilliant car to the point where even to this day it's starting to obviously show signs of paint scratches and things like that from the years of kids
Shopping trolleys.
treating it, shopping trolleys and things like that. But mechanically, it's absolutely amazing, this car. Like, it just keeps going and going and going. And I don't. It's a Mercedes SUV, but I don't get it serviced at Mercedes ever. That's a complete mistake. Don't ever do it if you own if you got a Mercedes that's
Unless
out of
you
warranty.
have the plan.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're out of warranty, you're screwed.
You just take it to your local mechanic, and this guy, he's been servicing her car now for years. Every time he goes, this car is fantastic. Like, there's hardly anything. Just replace the POLs, the petrol, the oil, the filters, and you need some new tires. Or that's about it. It's brilliant. So sometimes you get a good car, you're lucky. Keep it. She's only done about 120,000 Ks on it, too. It's
You're lucky. You're lucky. You can get a local mechanic. They will pretty much disappear around our area. I used to have a local mechanic, and they were great for telling you which cars needed the most work or needed a clutch replacement after so many years. They could tell you all sorts of stuff that the big chains wouldn't even know because the staff rotation was so intense. Yeah, so, no. Fortunately, they retired, so back with the normal plebs now.
This is the other thing that kind of I don't like about cars. Like, I like the fact that even when I bought that car, there was still the adage, this is back in 2009, you think it's not that long ago, people were buying cars to throw away in 5 years' time. That was kind of, it's still today where you buy, if you look at a Tesla, for example, once those batteries crap out on those things, I don't know if you've ever seen them on the used market and the batteries are crapped out on them. They literally can't even sell them. They are worthless.
Just don't buy one in the first place.
Another example of how shitty those cars are. Exactly.
Yeah. So. And I said to a few of my friends and family at the time, because they were like, "Oh, your next car you should get electric," and I went, "No. If I get electric, it'll be a hybrid at the very most. It won't be fully electric."
I know. Yeah, most people.
Because you like road trips, right? If you like road trips, then it makes no sense to get electric.
Yeah. And I love diesel engines too. I've talked about this before. And on a road trip, diesels are absolutely brilliant because they use hardly any fuel at all on long distance trips because they just sit there and all the way down the highway. Especially in Australia where you've got massive, huge, thousands of kilometres to drive. Diesels just.
Do you have an issue with diesel not at certain stations though?
Nah, never had a problem with diesel.
No, it's diesel's everywhere.
Okay. Diesel's good here, actually.
Diesel's same here.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Diesel's good here. Yeah.
The only thing you got to worry about is you do have to stop every now and then to have a coffee when you're driving long distances in Western Australia.
I had a friend who
with the diesel is you don't have to stop
the restaurant trick for a while. The biodiesel, he's getting all the French fry oil from restaurants for free, filtering it home, and driving around his car smelled like French fries for free. So
I heard about that. I don't know. There's that many people doing it though, but I have heard. About that.
They don't do it anymore. It was kind of like I think it was a liability issue, so they stopped doing it. But
there used to be this. It stopped now. There used to be a thing where you could get biodiesel, and when I bought my car, I got told under no circumstances are you to put biodiesel in your diesel. Yeah. So there obviously must be some sort of disparity with the way the fuel works.
You have to filter it. It can get particulates and nasty gunk in there. So
Yeah.
it's
I think it's probably more to do with that it's a prevention as opposed to an issue, right? So it might be okay to use, but eventually you might get half a French fry flagging through.
well, that's why you have to filter it. He filtered all of his oil, but for a while he was driving totally for free from restaurant oil. So
my son's going to get a new car soon, and I said to him, if you're going to get he wants to get a full drive because he likes going camping with his mates. And I said, look, if you're going to get a full drive, especially in Australia, get a Toyota, because mechanically, there's nothing like them.
My Toyota Highlander
Parts.
rules. I love it.
Yeah,
It just runs like a champ.
yeah.
we got a Toyota.
Andy,
I don't
you've
even
got
mind
to
the
buy all
cheaper.
American
I like
cars
that.
over
The
there.
smaller Toyotas are good too, like little
Ours is a small Toyota.
little
Yeah,
RAV4s are even
yeah,
good too.
I was buying American for most of my life, and then the Ford Explorer had a bad transmission, and I said, "Fuck Ford," basically, because they burned me. It was a very expensive problem,
Yeah,
and so I went Toyota. And everyone loves Toyota, Camry,
yeah,
Highlander, whatever. They're amazing. So.
yeah. Same here. And the people in Australia, we have pretty grueling conditions where it's hot all the time. Engines need to keep cool. Toyotas just they never break down, ever.
Yeah.
They go through the bush, they get dust in through the air filters, the red dust, everything. It's fine. They are really, really good cars. My son is going to get what they call a Hilux. I think you get them in the US, Hiluxes.
Hey.
Yeah,
Yeah, get a Hilux
the
over
Hilux.
there.
Not
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, Hilux.
Yeah, my buddy owned a Hilux.
Yeah, well, that was originally one of the most toughest sort of, as you call them, Ute style cars ever, isn't it?
Mm.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
I don't know what
they're
the
a
modern
proper.
ones are like.
They're still a proper four-wheel drive, so they still have the low range. And if you want to go out, you can let your tires down in the sand dunes. You know, if you want to go rock hopping and stuff, or goat trails or whatever, you can do it in a Hilux because it's got enough ground clearance on them. Some cars they call four-wheel drives are not four-wheel drives, so I wouldn't go anywhere near them.
Where's Hilux made? Never heard of Hilux.
They're Toyota.
Toyota.
You guys might call them Forerunners or something in the US. They're the same thing.
Oh, okay. It's a different model.
They're the-
Okay.
Yeah.
They're the indestructible
Yeah.
Hilux over here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're in the UK and they're in
Forerunners
the... I thought they were in the US as well.
Forerunners are decent. Yeah, they're right.
Yeah, they use them everywhere. Let's face it, they put guns and rocket systems on the back of them, so you know they're quite good.
I mean,
What, the guns and the rockets or the car?
They're good. If
it's made in America, you got to have some kind of armament on it.
for
So.
weapons. Yeah,
Or sold to American
well,
markets. You know. So.
yeah. For rebel fighters, they're the car of choice.
Oh, Tacoma, is it?
Yes.
Tacoma?
Yes.
A Tacoma's a truck.
Is a Hilux called in the USA?
Yeah, Tacoma's a truck, not an SUV.
It's a Tacoma.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's not a Forerunner. It's a
Yeah,
Tacoma.
did you
Tacoma.
check the old Top Gear when they did the
That's a classic.
Hilux.
My favorite Tacoma video is the guy who did a Tacoma versus Cybertruck, and the Cybertruck got trashed. It was great.
No.
They
That would
torture
be a
these
good
cars. And
How
they
popular
just-
are Tacomas
They both
in the
got
US?
trashed, but
Are they pretty
all over the
popular?
place. They're very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're very good trucks.
Oh, they look exactly the same as a Hilux. Wow, I'm just looking at pictures now.
They're not
They're exactly
massive.
the
They're
same.
those in-between trucks. You know, if you want the big old like heavy
got
trucks
the-
that tow
The
Huge
Dodge,
roller.
and stuff,
the
you get
Dodge
a
or the
bigger
Fords.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Chevy or whatever. So,
Yeah, yeah.
um,
I don't like them
Tacomas-
because you can't freaking park anywhere with them. Those the Dodges and the Chevys and the Ford Customs and that. You can't. I mean,
well, it depends.
Where do you
It's hard in
park?
San Francisco, but most other
No one will
places
park
it's
around
easy.
you either.
So,
If you own one, if you can get there
I can't even
first,
park
no one
my
will
car
around
in
you.
places
Yeah, exactly.
around where I live.
Well, that's another.
I mean,
That's another reason why we're not going to end up having American cars in this country. There's no point in trying to build all American cars and then trying to sell them because we ain't going to be having them. We can't even
because your
put them
roads
anywhere
are
on the
so
roads.
small. Yeah. Remember, our roads are much newer, so they're bigger and crazier.
Darren, you guys
Oh,
don't have
parking spaces are small.
Darren, your country doesn't have a problem. You guys make cars still. And the US don't have a problem because they actually make cars still. But Australia, we don't make cars. So...
Well, we do
have to
make
import.
cars,
Don't you
but
guys
we
have
don't
you have
own the
Range
companies
Rovers
that
in the
make
UK?
them.
Range Rovers are big, right?
Well, I'm going to have to end the show.
Yeah, Range Rovers are not, well, they are made here, but they're owned by, are they owned by BMW?
But they're pretty big cars, right?
Oh, yeah.
Ranges,
they are.
Ranges.
Range Rovers are.
I don't know. I actually think the Discoveries are actually bigger now than the Ranges.
Bigger. Yeah, Discovery
those
is
look
bigger.
stupid with the top,
than a Range Rover.
the top shape. I hated those Discoveries.
Yeah.
Those are horrible.
Yeah.
Because they actually do. They have that kind of real sort of boxy sort of
and
look
it's
about
top.
them, don't they?
It's the center of gravity is much higher. They look goofy, right?
Yeah.
They are actually pretty.
They do.
They are actually pretty capable four-wheel drive. So to be honest, some mechanical issues aside, they've got this suspension lifting system on it, which I think if that broke, then you're screwed. But it's pretty strong from what I've been told. So when you go off road, when you're just driving around town and that's you have it set to normal. But when you go off road, it lifts the car right up, so you get like it's a decent ground clearance that this thing gives you, and it's just built in. You don't have to buy anything extra. It's just part of what you get. So you can literally take them off road. They're capable off road. I've seen them around where I live up in the dunes and stuff. They never get bogged. They're fine. So Discoveries are actually pretty capable four-wheel drives. I think
like
the Defenders probably
over
get
Africa. Remember the old Land Rovers that had the kind of inlet on the front of the engine?
Oh yeah.
They're all over Africa from like the 60s, 70s. Those are pretty cool.
So that's like the 110 Land Rover, right? That was like the 110, and they still actually they still make them. You can still buy a 110. Yeah, and they're like indestructible. They are really, really good. We used to have them when I was in the military. So, yeah, if you're into
what you
that
don't
sort
want
of
is a new electric
the
Range Rover.
BYD. Have you seen those things?
I mean, let's face it.
Chunky is
useless.
What they're forgetting is our roads are bad as it is. All these electric cars are like twice as heavy as normal petrol cars. Yeah. So the roads are only going to get worse.
Oh yeah.
You know, it'd be funny is a Hummer electric. I'd like to see a Hummer electric vehicle.
They stopped making Hummers, didn't they?
They're around. I don't know. Arnold Schwarzenegger had a part in it. He actually was an investor, I think. So, big guy wants a big
Bushmaster
truck,
now.
a big vehicle. Yeah.
Well, if you have trouble parking, get a Hummer. Then you know what having trouble parking is all about. Hey guys, I'm going to have to go because I've got to pick my daughter up from work.
Okay.
But all good. Okay. Thank you very much, everybody, for being part of the show.
Yeah.
And we'll see. And also, happy Easter. And it's tomorrow for most of you. It's in about half an hour for us. Hopefully the little Easter bunny delivers something nice for you in the morning.
Don't be sick on the Easter eggs.
We're gonna start off
show later.
We're gonna have scrambled eggs for breakfast. I'm gonna do some ciabatta bread with I do a scrambled egg. Do a really good scrambled egg. So that's gonna treat the kids to that, and they have a nice start to the day. They're not allowed to touch chocolate until after lunch.
Lovely. Yeah.
No chocolate cereal? What's wrong with you?
Oh, that's a no.
Yes.
Children and chocolate in the morning.
Oh my god.
Oh, I know.
Yeah. Up the wall.
Where would all that energy go?
All right, guys. All the best. Enjoy.
Everybody.
All right.
See you later, everybody.
I've just connected this.
Bye.
I shouldn't have. Here we go.